about to open this meeting at the Gilliam County Court. It's November 7th. We're here in the Gilliam County Courthouse. It is 10:01, although the clock in here says 11:01. Our first order of business is the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I do have one addition to the agenda. It is item 2.9, and it's the IGA with the City of Condon for the Fiber Project Manager contract, or IGA. So we'll try and pick that up as we move along. Okay, at this time we've set it aside for individuals wishing to address the county court. May do so. Give each one 5, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is they would like to take up. Anyway, we'd like it to be recognized by the chair and state your name, address. Anybody? Mr. Rourke?
Morning.
Morning.
Morning, Steve. Wes Ruar, 12888 Lower Rock Creek Lane, last I knew. I just want to make a very brief statement for the record of sorts, and I'll just read it as I've written it. We've entered a new era of leadership here, and there is a certain sadness, and there's also a certain expectation. And may we all decently cope with the former and move forward with the latter. And that's all I have to say, I guess.
I agree. Never look back, always look forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Les. Okay.
I got one.
Okay.
This is for the record from Dave Wade. He wanted me to bring this to the court. He thinks that the private roads that are used by the school buses should be graded for free. I'll tell you, there was a lot of laughter in the room.
Okay, well, yeah.
But, you know, in the past, there has been done.
Yeah, it might be something worth having a conversation in future court meetings to discuss that, specifically, I guess, when it comes to plowing snow. Okay, all right, we're almost right back on schedule, so why don't we go ahead and get started with the Gilliam County Library Board, the annual report to the court.
Come on, Mary.
So we've got
We got more than one chair.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. Does it have to be close to you here? Does it carry it there? Oh, it's loud in some directions, too loud. I talk loud. So good news, I'm not asking for any money, so this will be a fun, fun presentation. I think Sandy put in your packet a kind of a summary of what the library's been doing. So I have a couple things to add. One, this summer, I took a little trip with my sister. We went to the coast and we ended up at a hotel where they served dinner family style. And there was like 8 people there and we were getting to know them and finding out where they were from and everything. And when I said I was from Condon, this lady spoke up and she says, "Oh, I've been to your library." And I'm always surprised at that because most people don't even know where Condon is sometimes. And she said, "Oh yeah, it's a really nice library." And I said, "We were very proud of it too." So, and she actually is a former school librarian from the Redmond area, and so she travels up through here sometimes and has stopped in. But I just wanted to make the point that a lot of people stop in at the library if they're on Main Street because it's easy to get to and they just kind of want to know more about our town and take a look around, and they're impressed. I think too far, too loud. I have one of those voices that, you know.
She's taught a lot of kids how to talk.
I know, I can't hear myself in this room. I have that leftover head cold that's coming from around everybody. So anyway, I want to know, we are on the record, and I think Gilliam County has 2 gems of the library, and if you have any extra money, I would suggest you throw some more toward Arlington Library too. I think we're very generous to what's happening here. A couple things. The Imagination Library is something we're really proud of, and that's the program where kids from birth to age 5 can get a free book, and it's associated with the Dolly Parton Imagination Library Foundation. And we were very lucky this last year that a foundation in Hood River called the Rippey Foundation came on board and offered enough money to fund half of everybody's expenses for 24 rural counties if they would belong to this or join up and be part of this program. We were the only county that had the program at the time on the eastern Oregon side. There's a couple little school districts that did, but we were the only county library and library of any kind really on the eastern side. So the national people came to our little town and we had this little conference. We talked about how we like the program and what we could do to help promote it, and ESD got on board, and lots of people have gotten on board, and so I think almost all of those 24 counties now have that program, so we're thrilled with that, and they're going to pay half of the expenses for 3 years, and hopefully maybe they'll re-up for that. So we pay the other half out of our book sale. That's what we do with our book sale money, is pay for that. And the school has been coming down using the library pretty regularly because they have a school librarian. She's only there early in the morning. It's a little hard to send your kids to after breakfast to go to the library, I think. So they come and still use the county library on a regular basis, which is really nice. We had this new grant, and we have 300 new youth books. So if you into young adults or anything, you can come check some of those out. We also get regular adult books, but we're pretty proud of that. Mary and Deanna got that grant. And our new project now is that we're coordinating the effort to bring the Missoula Children's Theater to Condon. And it's going to be the first week in March. It's going to coincide with the Tumbleweed Tournament, but we'll have everything together. St. Pat's dinner, you can have a whole weekend of fun. And so there was a generous grant from the city, and we coordinated with the Education Foundation and us and several other grants we're putting together, and we're heading that up. The chamber is involved, so it's going to be fun. You can come and attend. You put that on your calendar for March 8th and 9th. Yeah. So do you have any questions for us or for Mary, who knows all the statistical stuff?
I didn't really have any questions as far as statistics.
Will this be your first year with the Missoula Children's Theater?
Yes. No, we've had it. It's been quite a long time since we had it here.
Arlington has it.
I know, regularly. I'm so envious that.
I think my kids have T-shirts from like every year.
That's super. You know, it's a wonderful program, and Parcel has had it pretty regularly too, so we're kind of thrilled that it's coming back here. And hopefully, we're going to ask for donations at the end of the performance and see if we can't get a pot of money started to have it come again. So.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Good. What is the cost of having them come?
The fee is $3,050.
Okay.
Just the fee, and then you have to do room and board for the actors that are there.
All right. Anything you want to add, Mary?
No,
Okay.
good.
Cindy covered it very
Yeah,
well.
well.
How long did it take you to do this report?
Not too long.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have to do the statistics. Mary did that. Oh, that
This-
statistical
this is-
report?
yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Mary does that.
Yeah.
Several weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This thing must
Thank
be
you.
really loud. I'm not that
It
loud.
really is, yeah.
They just redid the system, the circuit court did,
Oh.
and so that's why it's all out of whack.
It's like
Kelly's,
booming.
yeah, Kelly's on the phone with their tech right now to,
Yeah, because I hear her and then I hear
yeah, it's.
the sound system.
Exactly.
Making it
And
all
it's-
impossible
Yeah.
for me.
Kelly's on the phone with them, they're
Yeah.
adjusting it remotely right now.
Yeah.
We can't adjust it here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is new, because you didn't used to be able to hear anything. Now you can hear too much.
They just upgraded the system.
And it when just is like yesterday.
Oh,
Was the
okay.
day that they were doing it, so. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. I get that out. Feedback is
I'll
bad.
move it away as far as I possibly can.
That,
Okay.
yeah.
Jerry, how are you?
Well, you
Or turn it up so it's not so direct.
Yeah, maybe that'll help. Maybe if I go that direction too, maybe that'll help.
I'm surprised, happily surprised, that's nice.
Okay, I think what I'll do, I'm gonna go down to an action item. It's something that we've already really kind of discussed, and that's the approval, item 2.6. It's the approval of the sheriff's vehicle. Well, we're aware of it, made aware of it, let's put it that way. They had already purchased a vehicle before, which actually was out in the parking lot. They've also are in the process of getting another vehicle. This is the second one. It's on the state contract. It meets virtually all our public purchasing rules that we have. It's the state of Oregon contract number 5551. In the amount of $31,423.34.
You say this is a second vehicle?
This is the second one, yes. Yeah.
Can you turn it back up just a little bit?
The check hasn't already been written?
Not of this one. no.
Okay.
Testing. Testing.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
I didn't know whether to say 1, 2, 3 or ABC. Yeah.
I move we approve the sheriff's office vehicle purchase, police interceptor for the amount of $31,423.34 on the state contract.
Okay.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the purchase of a police interceptor in the amount of $31,423.34 on the state, under the state contract for the sheriff's office. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Good. Thank you. Okay, we also have one, since we're on the sheriff, item 2.7, which is the declaring a surplus vehicle. I believe this is the vehicle that come from the city of Condon.
No.
No?
No.
No. All right.
This is the Silverado pickup?
This is the Silverado pickup, okay. We already did the city contract.
We did that last time.
Right. It's a really thin piece of paper.
Oh, I had a couple questions on this. It says at the top of the resolution that we're meeting on November 7th, but down at the bottom it says adopted by the county court on October 17th.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, I'll correct that.
Thinking that should be today.
Yep.
Okay. And I meant to call you before, but I just got away from you.
I move we approve resolution number 2018-17, declaring a county vehicle as surplus equipment on a 2005 Chevrolet four-wheel drive Silverado pickup. The number is stated in the resolution.
Okay.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 2018-17, declaring a county vehicle as surplus equipment, a 2005 Chevy four-wheel drive Silverado pickup. VIN number is posted in the resolution. Any further discussions? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Moving along here pretty quickly. Let's how about if we pick up on item 2.5, which is the OSU request for funds. So what they're asking for is just the quarterly payment?
Just the quarterly release of their operational funds, yeah.
Okay, okay. Is that, Commissioner, isn't that kind of unusual? That haven't they always asked for the entire amount?
You know? More of a quarterly.
Yeah.
Well, I move we approve the request for the release of the budgeted funds as stated in their invoice of $26,191.25.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the release of budgeted funds to the OSU extension in the amount of $26,191.25. Can I add quarterly payment to that? Did you have quarterly payment in? Could I add that? No, all right, okay. Couldn't remember whether you added that or not. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, I guess right now, we're close enough to where we can bring up, we have Terry Casey with the International Union Engineers, is it?
Operating engineer.
Operating
Do you mind if I
engineers.
join?
Yep, sure, go right there. Okay. Thank you. Sorry, I missed you the other day.
Ah, no problem. Things happen.
Yeah, it certainly did that day.
So, I myself, I am Terry Casey, the Eastern Oregon business agent for the operating engineers, Local 701. One of my projects that I'm tasked with is also getting to the schools and meeting the kids that are coming of high school age and going beyond. Our strong kids that aren't going to go to college is one of the things that I take to heart, getting those opportunities to those kids where they can make a family living wage with benefits and pension. And that brings me to your guys' attention, that you have the power when these projects come in to help them facilitate in the counties themselves. Through what you guys already have, a SIP agreement is a good start. But we need to draw these kids from our counties that we're surrounded by and keep that money here. We have a lot of these out of state for now, the windmill projects and the fiber optic projects that are coming through our counties and through the whole state, that these people are coming from out of state. And they're making money because we have prevailing wage rules where they're from. They may not have those type of things. They see the money sign go up and they're here. And then they turn around, they may spend some money while they're here working on the project, but they turn around and they go home. And that's a big concern when our kids are coming out of high school and they don't go to college because they can't afford it. They can get into our programs, they can earn as they learn, and then they're members, upstanding members of the community that have a family living wage. And that's big to me. I brought with me today our building trades secretary, Robert Camarillo. He has some extensive work so far on the project agreement with the University of Oregon, one of the leading projects in Oregon right now that came through the building trades. And this man right here has been very high on the forefront of facilitating that. And I want to introduce you to him and what he does when these projects come around, that you can get in touch with us and we can help you with those.
Okay. Okay.
So thank you, Judge Schaefer, Commissioners, for allowing me to speak. Apologize, I wasn't able to get on the agenda, but just to add to Terry, I'm the Executive Secretary of the Oregon State Building and Construction Trades Council. We're an umbrella organization that represents over 25 local building trades unions. We have between 25 to 30 training centers sprinkled throughout the state. We represent over 40,000 men and women working in the building construction industry. Again, sprinkled throughout the state of Oregon. Southwest Washington, we also represent the 6 counties, 5.5 counties there. Something that we anytime we see contractors coming in and taking advantage of our tax credits or tax incentives, it gets our attention, right? Those are benefits that should be staying here in Oregon. We should be doing a better job of making sure that these contractors are utilizing the local workforce, and that's what we want to try to partner up with, some of the local, some of the local agencies and counties to help them, meet some of those goals. The SIP agreement is a great start. Terry said we appreciate it. Great job in looking out for the community and trying to promote long-term employment. One of the things that we would like to encourage is that when these agreements come up, is that you guys can consider utilization requirements, maybe apprenticeship utilization. Those lead to careers. Those help long-term employment. When you have, maybe veteran utilization, whatever the community in this county, whatever the communities in this county really need, right? You know them better than us. You could really insert any requirement, utilization that you would like in these agreements, and we would love to partner with you and help you craft some of that stuff up and show you what it looks like in other areas. And it really helps the community. It benefits you. You build a local workforce as these projects continue to come in. So what happens is this out-of-state workforce comes in. It doesn't really do anything long-term for our economy. They take that money back. These employees go back. But if we train our workforce in these areas, they stay here. And there's no excuse for having to bring out-of-town workers. We train workers, and it's not a union, non-union. It's about a responsible contractor making sure these employees are getting paid what they deserve, the livable wage, making sure that they're not undermining whatever the rates are in this area. And so, yeah, we just want to extend our offer and introduce ourselves to you and thank you for the work you're doing by inviting these developers into your area.
Okay.
Be happy to answer any questions.
So you talked about training centers.
Yes.
Okay, what is the closest training center to Gilliam County?
That'd probably be
Crook County. We have two. We have the IBW Training Center and the United Association of Plumbers and Steamfitters Training Center in Redmond. And then we have a couple in Tri-Cities.
Okay.
Obviously, they're on the other side of the border.
You say Tri-Cities?
Yeah.
Yeah, that out-of-state one?
Yeah, that's
That
out of
we
state.
were just talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's where the workforce
Draws.
draws those training centers. It's closer to commute than
Yeah.
to Bend or some of the ones in the valley in Portland area.
Oh, yeah.
But we try to not use those, but those are in the area as well. And, trying to think which other ones. Those are probably the closest ones to Gilliam County.
Okay.
one of the things that I do when I go to, like later today, I'm doing an outreach at a school. I have a mini excavator that is coming in, and I have cones, traffic cones. Seems like a really simple thing, but I let the kids get in the excavator and I let them pick those tires up and put them on the cones. And then when they come out of the school to me, they, oh wow, that looks really simple. We can really do that. And some of them are very good, don't get me wrong. But others are like, they get out of there and they're, oh wow, that was just totally, but I can get it, I can do this. And I'm going to do one of those today, which is very important, having this information for the kids. My next step when I go do this today is to filter those kids that are a little bit better or more saying that this is what I want to do, get them together, we'll get them on a bus and we'll take them to our training center for a day so they can get a better look at some of the other equipment or hands-on that we have. And most of our training centers will give that option. I haven't heard of one that said, no, we won't take kids in. So, and it's our fault in the past for not coming to you guys earlier and being more aligned with the schools. And like I said, it's a passion of mine to get to these kids. I remember when I was in the 6th grade and I went out to a career day on a logging landing and I saw all the equipment, the trucks coming in, and I said, you know what, one day I'm gonna be doing that. And I have. For the last 25 years, I've been a crane rental hand and I've built a lot of things around the state. And it's pretty impressive when you're driving down the road and the kids say, Dad, what's going on over there? Did you do anything with that? And you can say, yeah.
So I have quite an interest in, the career technology education programs in, 8 through 12. I've had conversations with some of the other unions, specifically the electricians union. I think it's really time for the unions to get involved in that particular group, get involved with programs for the CTE, specifically 8 through 12. What are your thoughts there?
And we're obviously.
I mean, it's easy to go in there and say, geez, hey, after you get out of school, this is something, but
Something we follow closely.
Exactly.
We do support it. We are working with as many of the schools as we can to try to line up their curriculum that they're teaching in whatever technical classes. They're, making sure the curriculum aligns with the curriculum of our apprenticeship programs, so there could be direct entry into our programs. So we are working closely with a lot of the high schools on those programs, making sure they have the right information. So what happens, we just don't want to see some of this money be used on a bandsaw and the kids build something and they don't really see that there's actually a career behind some of the projects and some of the skills that they're learning in these classes. I think a lot of times our messaging isn't real clear to the students. They don't realize that these are good paying jobs on the other side of this training. And it's important for us. And we understand that not everybody's going to go to college, and you don't have to go to college to make a livable wage and take care of your family. We are the other four-year university. Our programs are anywhere from 4 to 6 years, and you earn while you learn. And so we're the alternative. We just want them to know that there's other options. Mm-hmm. And when we graduate, we don't have any debt. Mm-hmm. So we're big advocates of that. Obviously, we try to work as closely as we can with as many programs and schools.
Yeah. So we have an issue here with building codes, inspectors, and getting them certified, to be perfectly honest. It's one of the big issues that we have in our county right now is getting the homes that are being built inspected in a timely fashion. So I met with a group. It was a couple of private companies that had talked about, we're willing to go into the high schools, develop programs, curriculum that would allow the students to be able to learn as they go. In other words, here's the code for the wall that that's being built at this time. And I guess, I would encourage the same thing from you guys. That time that I met with these were private companies that did building code inspections. And they had been working with community colleges and developing a curriculum for 8 through 12. Also, I met at the same time were contractors, building contractors that built residential homes, and they were trying to develop the same thing. Now, of course, it's all happening in the metropolitan area. Trying to get it spread out to these rural areas or frontier areas as we are. It's much more difficult, but it's really going to take people like you to get that accomplished. We're going to have you push very, very hard to get that there. In pushing the state legislature, the governor, and all of those to develop the type of funding that's needed in these rural areas.
We're in communication right now with, I believe, Metro and Multnomah County on just such a program as that comes into play. Granted, it's a much larger base, and they have more people where, and this is not an excuse, this is just my area, from Hood River to Idaho, and from the river down through Burns, I've got a lot of area to cover, and I've met with several people like you in these counties. I will actively look for those things, but if you hear of something to do or where we can sit down and come up with a plan, call me.
Okay.
I'm 4 hours or less away.
Okay.
I would be glad to sit down with any commissioners, school superintendents, school boards, and say, hey, how can we get this done? How can we get this message to the kids every day? Because for the last 2 years, I've been going in and out of these schools, and this year it may be Jamie that's the counselor for outreach or STEM or what have you. And she says, oh, that's great, let's get something going. School year ends, Jamie's now moved up to some other place or other school or a different position, not there. That new person that comes in, there's no communication, Terry starts over again. Just like after Sandy and I talked, I went right in and I found the principal and we sat down and had a 30-minute conversation. You know, how can we stop this from happening? How can we get on your regular agenda enough that we're here for you?
Okay. Commissioner Weimer, you're a little bit familiar with the circumstance that we had, that being Gilliam County years ago, when we sort of put a criteria on our SIP agreement.
Yeah, we got into a lawsuit with a company over the Triumph. They were saying that we were forcing the wind company to use local, and that's against our labor rules in this state. And so we tried to point out that we were just trying to encourage. And that's as far as we can go. We can't make them write something into this contract that says, you will use local. And frankly, with the economy the way it is now, with our unemployment rate, it's ridiculous to try to force local when there isn't anybody. The job doesn't get done then, and it just slows down our progress. So I think that's part of what we're looking at right now too. It may be a lack of this education program at the high school level, which, you know, at one time there was a lot more career education, and it got moved away from that. But it's a matter of dollars too. So anyway, the insurance company paid a big tab on that lawsuit, and in the end, because we ended up having to pay part of the cost, even though we didn't lose, we didn't win on this deal. But anyway, it's not something we want to. And I used the example in when I was being deposed for this thing, deposition, that they asked me about local, what I considered local. And of course, first of all, you think of right here, but I said, I belong to a co-op. The head office is over in Morrow, and they employ people there, yeah, and I consider them local. But your title company's over in Hetner, and they don't put a dime into this place. And so I don't consider them local, even though they do some business here. So anyway, that's, you know, I've been through the fight.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we'd like to try to see if we could help navigate that, and like you said, at least encourage these developers when they come in. They gotta at least make an effort, right? They gotta do their due diligence and try to utilize the local workforce. Because like you, we view it, Oregon residents as local, right? They're receiving tax incentives. Those tax incentives aren't coming off the backs of just Gilliam County. They're coming off of all Oregon residents. So we view it as all Oregon. Let's hire Oregon first, right? There's a lot of people still unemployed. There's a lot of middle-aged adults that would like to earn more money, that would like a career in the trade. And that's where we could come in and help. But when they don't come in and even reach out to us and say, hey, what's the workforce like? Do you have a pool of workers? We have a pool of workers. Every one of our local unions has a pool of workers that are training. We have people that are actively recruiting, that are training workers. So that's what we do. We've never been accused of not being able to supply a workforce on a project. Any project that gets put in front of us, we build. And you don't have to look very far, and that's not our problem. Supplying skilled workforce. And so that's what we would like to see these contractors or these developers coming into Oregon, is at least making the effort to reach out to the operating engineers, to the IUOE, and ask for help.
Of course, I'm also want to be the low-cost producer, and if I can get labor that's as good as yours for a lower price, I'm going to do it. And we live in a global economy now, not a local economy. So so your organization has to compete, or else, you know, that's the way I see it too.
So, you know, right now, there's, as far as Gilliam County goes, you know, we're not in a position to be able to, we have no other projects, I guess, that would be coming up. The one that you're looking at is or you discussed specifically the Montag project. It is in what is known as phase 1. We're hoping for a phase 2, but as any other, you know, we don't know what phase 2 is going to be. May even be a 3, I don't know. Yeah. My understanding it is, we just don't really know what it's going to be yet. But again, you know, that it gets really difficult. We sign a SIP with a developer. The developer actually goes out and does a bidding process for those that, you know, are willing to do the project. Then that general contractor usually subcontracts with many different people. And I'm just not sure how far we would be able to put something into a SIP that could have the tentacles that reached as far down as maybe you might like to see. So, apprenticeship.
Apprenticeship utilization.
Accredited apprenticeship utilization.
Pretty common, you see it in a lot of other public agency procurement language. You know, it's just basic requirements, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing that can't be met. Obviously, we don't want you to create any hurdles that, they're not hurdles, it really does benefit the communities long term. There's data that proves it, right? And so, you know, it's a win-win. And maybe it's something that we do need to look at the legislature, right? If we negotiate these SIP agreements, maybe we need to, you know, sit down with the creators of those documents, say, hey, like, you know, how about we shore that up a little bit to give the communities a little bit more stake, more benefit.
Yeah, again, that would be the best approach for you to be able to take. It really would put more of the control on the state and what some of those things could be as opposed to locally. At this time, you know, most all the SIP agreements are handled locally under a criteria, and maybe something like that added to those sidebars, for lack of a better way of saying it, could be done.
Yeah, we're seeing it with a lot of the data centers, you know, they're getting the tax incentives, and then they're bringing in all these out-of-state workers, and they make a mess of the project, and then it's costing the taxpayer. There's responsible businesses that aren't getting the tax incentive for hiring local, so it's not fair. And so something else that we may look at is maybe attaching prevailing wage to some of these tax credits, right? If they're not gonna hire a local workforce, then we want them to, there's gotta be something, it's gotta be fair, it's not right for the Oregon resident.
Okay.
It's just not.
Good.
I have a question. Has there been any analysis under the Federal Commerce Clause as to the legality of this?
Not that I'm aware of right now. We could definitely look into it, get back.
Okay.
One thing that I am passionate about is if we can get, we're looking into different senators and Congress people that do write these rules and laws and open up the books for these people to come in and do the projects. And we can communicate with them all day long. And they say, yes, we're going to do this. But part of it is too, and the lack there that has been, is not communicating with you guys on this level, saying, yes, we support this. Why are these companies not coming in and looking for us to have these apprentices or veterans or minority utilization standards in them for that reason? And to me, I think it's kind of blindsiding you if we don't include you in that. Yes, we see that there's support here for this. Now we can move on to senators or Congress people or whoever and say, hey, we have support. Mm-hmm. And we're doing that, at least I'm doing that in all of my areas. Right. I think it's big to have your support, and I thank you for that.
I couldn't agree more based on the 6 years of experience I have here, or had. We have a lot of power. We do.
And that's why we're here today.
Okay.
Thank you.
So,
Appreciate that.
any further questions we might have?
Well, I'd make another comment that if this is gonna complicate our hiring process, that our county's experienced a lot of difficulty in following all the new rules. I mean, and we're not a small, number of people, but if we're to the point, we're going to have to add another body to this county government just to handle these problems, just to follow the freaking law, because they keep adding so much to it. And this, I see this doing the same thing. If we gotta follow this to hire. So that's one of the problems too. That, I mean, I spent quite a bit of time and had disagreement with the HR specialist with our insurance company. That her and I disagreed, and she finally said, "Oh, yeah, you're right. This is the way this veteran hiring deal is supposed to be." I mean, and within their organization, they didn't have agreement. So I mean, this is the problems that I see too, trying to force more stuff through the government regulation.
And muddy it up, I would imagine in places.
It does get muddied up. Well, thank you, too.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Not our intention,
It's-
but-
Yeah, definitely come back to visit us. It might be nice if, it was scheduled maybe once a year,
Yeah.
at the least.
And if there's anything we can do as far as job fairs or career fairs,
Yeah.
anywhere, any area that you would like, reach out to us.
I think specifically right now, just to work towards developing, your input in career technology education opportunities for, the next few years. So,
Yes,
okay.
definitely.
Well, thanks for letting me talk at you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
You as well.
Thanks again.
Do you have a card I can live in there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the next individual that we have, we've got Amy Nation, Juvenile Services Director, on her semi-annual report. Good morning.
Do you all have a copy of it?
We do, yes, yeah.
Perfect. I'll just kind of read through it. Oh, thanks, Sandy. The directors from all of our 4 counties, Gilliam, Sherman, Wasco, and Hood River counties, are continuing to meet twice a month. We have finished reviewing all of the Norcor policies, and Jeff Justice and the manager on the detention side of Norcor is putting the finishing touches and reprinting out the policy for all the employees. The next step is to make sure that the staff there are trained and made aware of any of the changes that have been made to the new policy manual. Directors are also meeting with the sheriffs from the 4 counties as our 2 groups are going to be taking over the position of administrator at Norcor. Bryan Bradenberg has resigned from his position, and he'll be available on an as-needed basis for a little while longer, but he'll no longer be in charge at Norcor. We have a new interim structure in place where Molly Rogers, the Wasco County Juvenile Director, will be in the juvenile side of Norcor about 10 hours a week, overseeing the manager, Jeff Justinson. And Jeff's going to be coordinating with Dan, who's going to be the jail commander on the adult side of Norcor, to work with the shared services between the 2 facilities. And Dan's going to be overseen by the Sherman County Sheriff, Brad Lawrence. Both Brad and Molly will bring anything that needs further discussion back to each of the groups, and we'll discuss and decide on the course of action together if it's needed. We're not going to do anything with the current budget. We're going to stay in the Norcor budget that's been approved and work within that budget. And this is an interim plan, and it can be modified and changed at any time by the board of Norcor. Legal counsel for Norcor is writing the language on how this agreement will look, and it's only going to be until June of next year when it can be changed or made permanent. So that's kind of what's been going on with the Norcor side of things. Otherwise, on September 17th, I went over to Hood River to their juvenile department, met the staff there, spent the morning looking at their expungement process. I have a lot of records that possibly could be expunged here by the statutes. So looked at how their process went, looked over different things with their court processes, got some sample court orders, just some things to help me out here. It was a lot of great information. And meeting-wise, I continue to attend the monthly multidisciplinary team meetings here. I do my quarterly meetings with the Eastern Oregon Juvenile Directors, and I do some early ed meetings like our LCAC meetings. I've been to a few trainings since I was last in front of you. I did a fundamental skills for juvenile workers training. This is one that had been recommended when I took the job. Just a lot of basic things for new directors, new probation officers in the state. Good information to have. I went to what was called the sequential intercept mapping training here in Condon. That was one where a lot of different parties, law enforcement, attorneys, counselors, veteran services, kind of all came together in the same room to work on how we can share resources to better help those who end up in the detention system, more for adults. But IUOE training, which is the Indian Child Welfare Act, which is used in our courts if a child has Native American heritage. So there was a training on that and a lot of good information from that. And then currently for my caseload, I have 4 dependency cases. One's been in circuit court, on to the other 2. The other 3 remain in juvenile court. And I have 2 delinquency cases. Any questions?
I'm glad you told me what MDT means.
That's
I mean, keep that in mind for me, because I'm still trying to learn what all the acronyms
yeah.
are.
I'll start
Anytime you
putting
can spell it out, and then
Okay.
Yeah, I see WA too.
Okay, yeah,
that would be great.
And that again is just a team of partners. It's kind of a big meeting. Schools are invited, counselors, DHS, and again, just to talk about cases that are going on within our county.
How are you liking the job so far?
I like it.
It's good.
Yeah. It's always something new, which I love, new things to learn, and there's a lot of support from the other directors, which has been really nice. Yeah, so that's good.
So what are your thoughts? I'm not sure when your rotation is. It's on a yearly. If this interim basis turns into a long-term and the juvenile directors operating NORCOR are being the head person there, what are your thoughts?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything about a rotation.
Okay.
So we'll have to see what thoughts are there. I've heard right now that Brad will do it as long as he's in his position as sheriff, and Molly's going to do it in her position. I think it would present, it'd be interesting if we do rotate with the travel. For me, being an hour and a half away from Norfolk. All of it's going to be just kind of a learning curve on.
Yeah, the entire facility.
Yeah.
All involved.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you definitely, Molly's pretty involved now with NORCOR, so she knows a lot of, she's in there often as it is now. And that may be something as I go. I mean, I'm spending more time there since this job than I ever had, just kind of learning the process of NORCOR. So I think on a rotation basis, I would want to take it maybe after Amber, just so I have more time to learn the workings of NORCOR and attend more board meetings and things like that, just to get a better understanding of the dynamics and how things run and things like that. But I think it's going to be an interesting interim period to see how it goes and to see how well the juvenile directors mesh with the sheriffs and coming together on the shared services and the budgeting, and it's going to be interesting.
Agreed. Agreed.
So
Who is Dan?
he has been promoted now. He works in the adult side of NORCOR. So now he's going to be the jail commander, which is, he's going to be the go-to person for the he's going to be managing. Like Jeff manages the detention juvenile side, Dan's going to be overseeing the adult side.
Okay.
Beyond that, honestly, Mike, I've seen him in a couple board meetings, but he'll be the one overseeing everything, and then if he has questions, he'll go to the sheriff. It's just kind of the new chain of command. Since there's no longer going to be an administrator, Dan will be doing those duties on the adult side.
What's his last name?
It's Lindquist, Linquist.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah, I don't know. This organization chart doesn't look good to me.
The sheriffs have always, by statute it says, and elsewhere in the state, the sheriffs oversee the jails.
Yeah.
So for them, it's no different than what's in statutes and how it should be anyway. And then there is the statute for juvenile directors as well. I'll have to look at it again, but so they're just kind of feel we're just going with the way the statutes are. We're taking out the administrator. It should be cost effective in the end because we're not paying Bryan's wages anymore.
No, what?
Paying Bryan's wages, the administrator there,
Yeah.
because we're not hiring another administrator. So for the detention side, for the juvenile, that money can be put into maybe more programming, case management, those kinds of things to offer more services to the kids on that side. So it's definitely a learning. I mean, that's why it's interim. It's not going to be permanent unless it's going to be working out. But
I'd like to stand corrected. It's Lindhorst. It's Horst. It's Lindhorst. Lindhorst.
Well, you probably, when you read this, you didn't, yeah. You knew what she was talking about.
Yeah, I
here.
really did.
When I read this thing, I was, okay, where'd Dan come from?
Yeah, really.
In this whole picture.
And I think, Mike, your concerns, I think, have been the very concerns that the Norcorp board has had.
Yeah.
This
there's been a
chain
lot
of
of
command
discussion.
structure that has been put together.
Yeah.
When you had Dan Lindhorst and Jeff Justison, who reported to the administrator,
Yeah.
now those two individuals will report to their own individual, which,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and then those individuals will report to a group of sheriffs, a group of juvenile directors, who then agree, and if it's something that's
And
involved
then
with
you
policy,
still have the
then it
board.
goes to the board. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it has been a little, questioned as far as the cumbersome
Yeah.
approach. And
Let's hope there's not a fire.
again, I want to stress that this is an interim. This is interim to see how this works out.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Anything? Any other questions for Amy?
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Amy. Good job. It's been a joy.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, we're close. Let's see if we can pick up one more of these action items real quickly. I think we have a couple of minutes that we could talk about the 2.9, which is the IGA with the city of Condon. We have Ruben here.
Yes, so at the last meeting, you approved this IGA for me to take it to the city of Condon for approval. They took it to the city. Well, let me back up. I sent it on to Wyatt Baum and heard back from him that he doesn't have a problem with it. It's going to the city for approval at their meeting tonight. I've heard back from Adam Haas. He doesn't have a problem with it. He's fine with the way it's structured.
Yeah.
So there aren't any changes for you to consider from the last time it was on. What I suggest we do, though, because there's no subsequent meeting in November here, that we approve it subject to the city's approval and authorize Judge Schaefer to sign it if approved by the city of Condon.
This is almost time for celebration.
Well, it is to me. Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
We're not done yet.
Yeah.
The time to celebrate will be the day that it gets, the fiber that's in the ground is
Gets
lit
lit
up.
up. Yeah. Well, I move we approve the intergovernmental agreement with the city of Condon on the sharing the Condon fiber project manager services and cost pending the city's approval.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the intergovernmental agreement between the county and the city of Condon, sharing the fiber project manager services and costs, pending approval by the city of Condon. Okay, any further discussion? There being none?
It's interesting that it's the city administrator signing this. I think, well,
Yeah,
yeah, not the mayor,
yeah.
but you're in an administrative role in this case.
Yep.
Where you're signing up
Right.
for us.
Yeah.
Well, and if they determine that there's a more appropriate person to sign, they can change that
Yeah.
line and do that. I wrote it in there because I saw that Ms. Bryan had signed some previous.
Other
Yeah,
documents.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah, good. Okay, Bryan, are you ready? We can go ahead a couple minutes early, I guess. Yeah,
Okay by me.
we've got Veteran Services. Bryan Hunt.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What a fabulous, beautiful day out.
I don't hear you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What a fabulous day out there.
Yeah.
Tri-County Courts, Gilliam County. We just jump right in, get it over and done with.
Sure.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. First quarter, July, August, September, Gilliam County, 2018 fiscal year. Total in-office interviews, 24. Out-of-office interviews, 4. Total of 28 interviews. Original forms, applications basically is 1. New claims, other new claims which are not original, such as a veteran's filed a claim 5 years ago and wants to file a new claim. It's no longer considered an original claim. Filed 2 of those. The 1010EC, which is the medical application this quarter, 1. Notice of disagreements, which is an appeal process. I didn't file, no. Yeah, none for Gilliam County. Total recoveries for Gilliam County, $1,073.46. The state has redefined what they consider outreach. So when I go to one of the other cities, one of the other towns, and deliver flyers and brochures and hand out pins and talk to people on the streets, they don't call that outreach. It's just normal everyday business. So they dictated or informed me that outreach is meetings, veterans and benefit fairs, such as that, to where I actually do something, such as on the 11th, I'll have a dinner up in Morrow for Veterans Day, and then on the 7th, I'll have a dinner down here at the Elks Lodge. That is considered outreach. So, I'm also looking at other outreach, but one Wilson Ranch's retreat down here, I'm trying to get a veterans retreat, kind of something where veterans just go hang out with other veterans, maybe get some interest in the veteran community, get more people to come out and say, oh, hey, I would have liked to have done that. So, you know, generate interest in getting involved with the VA and getting paperwork filed with the Veterans Administration. Anyway, back to the next page. It's meetings that I went in, was the SIM meeting, Toby meeting that was conducted here in Condon. The SIM's mapping, I don't even know what that acronym stands for.
I was just about to ask.
But it's a services meeting, and we have the sheriff's department and a bunch of different law enforcement. We had attorneys there, we had community counseling, we had GOBI, which is Greater Oregon Behavioral Health Institute or something along those lines. out of the Dalles. We had a whole bunch of service providers get together and find out, discuss, talk about what is lacking in our services, not just us, but the community-wide. So we got all together, and we now have an email list. If a veteran comes in to talk to me and says, look, I've got a problem, I don't have housing, and for some reason or other, the VA can't help them, I can send them off to another the housing authority. I've got their email contact information. I can get in touch with them, get the two of them connected, and help them outside the VA avenue. So I think it was a very productive, very interesting meeting. I had my doubts at first, but after I went to the meeting, I'm like, where has this been all my life? If somebody needs mental health and they can't get in to see a VA doctor, or for some reason they're not eligible for VA medical care, who do I send them to? So now I've got that contact list, I've got the information, I've got a bunch of things like that in place now. So that's Gilliam County. The next one is the Gilliam, Sherman, and Wheeler County composite. Total in-office interviews at 73, out of office is 15, total of 8. Original disability and pension claims, 6. Other new claims is 4. Medical applications with the 1010 ED is 2. Notice of disagreements, 1. Total recoveries for all 3 counties, $2,780.18. The second page is just the signature page with the same trainings on it. So, that is my report.
Good.
Any questions?
No, keep sailing.
Brought you some postcards of the event that they're having out at Stonehenge on Sunday, in case you're interested.
This Sunday?
This Sunday. And I left, and I have posted some around Condon, but the last time I was here for county court, you weren't here. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure you knew about that.
Even though it's out of state.
Yeah.
Not
Well, it's out of
It's in
state,
Washington.
out of state, out of county. I've got a big veterans dinner tomorrow. I've got the veterans thing here at
I'm sure there's
11:11.
probably plenty going on.
Which is outreach. My budget is way over right now. I mean, correction, I haven't spent all my money yet, and it's going to be significantly over. I've been buying all kinds of stuff. I've been advertising, I've got radio ads, I've got everything. So I kind of look forward to next June or so, July, the state saying, well, you don't need that much money, we're going to reduce your budget by about $50,000, $60,000. So like I say, if I can get any ideas on how to get veterans into my office, that's what I need. And Highland Hills Ranch is another place I've been looking at and talking to them. They don't have an off-season. They only are during the hunting season from, October through January. And per person, it's $2,000 to $3,000. I can't justify that. But if I can get them to send a cookout for a weekend to have a veterans retreat out there in June, at a significantly reduced price. They got room for 24 people, and I can do a little veterans retreat out there. I know Union County rented the entire ski lodge up at Anthony Lakes for their veterans retreat. When the weather gets better, I'm thinking Arlington, hire ODOT to put big signs up on the interstate, Veterans Fair ahead, and then get all these people with the Gobi and Sim mapping. Maybe get a hold of Columbia Gorge Community College and have them come down, and all these different people and set up at the park. And I don't know, any ideas are more than welcome.
Okay.
So, because they didn't give me a pay raise, which Tri-County Court voted for, but that's neither here nor there.
I believe that's handled by Sherman County, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't quite understand politics, so.
The Tri-County can only give a recommendation and during discussion.
Right, and then,
Yeah.
so that I can't use the money for me.
Yeah, right.
But if I do a hunting lodge, I'll probably have to
You
be
get
there.
to experience.
I'll have to be there as a, not arbitrator, what's the word I'm looking for? Person in charge.
Yeah. Camp counselor.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
What, I wonder what about Cottonwood Canyon?
Yeah. Two. They now have 4 cabins down there.
Cabins?
Cabins, yeah. I believe they sleep 6 apiece. Maybe more.
That's a great idea. And-
You don't want to stay at the rattlesnake cabin.
Well, and disabled veterans. can
I
stay
like
there
the
for free.
rattlesnake cabin. I thought it was a great name.
Well, it should be Rattlesnake Canyon, but.
Yeah. Okay.
Any questions?
That's it. Yeah, I have nothing. Okay.
Oh,
Thank you,
I'll
Brian.
post these little flyers up around
Great,
wherever I get.
okay,
There's not very many, but I can make copies.
okay,
Right?
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you all. You all have a fabulous day.
I think that just bringing that up just always brings people's more interest up more.
Yeah, it does. I love that too, actually. Well, I think we were both shocked to walk up to a cabin with the, name Rattlesnake on it, so, yeah.
Very aptly named.
It absolutely was. You know, while we have a couple of minutes here, I'd really kind of like to talk about this new sound system that has been put in here in the courtroom.
Does it include a loop system with it? Yeah.
You're going to have to explain loop to me.
Well, that's for us with hearing impairments and have hearing aids that have a T-switch. There's a loop that you get, like if you go to Keller Auditorium,
Okay.
and it has a receiver with it.
Okay.
And so all the microphones that are in the room then bring that sound right
Right to your
hearing aid,
okay.
so that you don't get all the echo that I'm getting today.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very difficult right now because I'm hearing you several times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know whether it
Yeah,
does.
they should.
Yeah.
They should have done that if they upgraded.
Uh-huh.
I didn't realize that they were.
Nobody did. Suddenly they kind of showed up and it was,
Yeah.
I received an email that basically said the system has been updated and we would no longer have the ability to utilize the phone system that's involved with the speaker system that we have here. It is now all being controlled remotely.
Yeah.
So, it was a huge concern because specifically us, we on a consistent basis really like using the entire system. Our only options now are going to be to use the Spider up here or, purchase some equipment which will allow us to utilize our own infrastructure that's involved with this. I did have a conversation with the tech. It was a week and a half ago, something like that. And they did send me, he gave me some information to get it done. It's going to cost about $550. And then also it's going to require a laptop or a remote location to be able to control what our portion of this system would be. So it'll be a phone line, so on and so forth, that would allow it all to kind of tie in together. Again, probably, not really sure exactly what the overall costs are going to be. 2 reasons. I really haven't, we no longer have the IT services that we used to have through the ESD. Now they're being handled by the Columbia Gorge ESD. And I haven't had the opportunity to have a conversation with the ESD tech to discuss what this may entail. I was quite shocked. Yesterday was a pretty hectic day here. But as I had walked by for some particular reason, I saw an individual that was in here working and playing with the system.
Oh.
And by the time I got down the hall, did what I had to do, and come back, he was already gone, so. Anyway, it's something that we're gonna probably, if we want to utilize something other than this, that spider, which is terrible, we'll have to bite the bullet and look at what that's gonna be. And I think it probably should be handled by our contracted IT entity.
Yeah, so it's complicated, it's all this.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
better have it integrated.
Based on the individual, I doubt we're gonna be spending any more than, it'll be under $1,000 to do the whole thing. That is, if, that would be utilizing an existing laptop computer that we have, so.
Well, these overhead speakers have not been very helpful to me either.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
But
we don't want to get into the same situation we have with the lift down here,
Yeah.
which you might see more of it.
So I'll definitely ask the question about the loop system.
Right. It's probably too expensive, but the
Well-
circuit court, I can't believe they, don't have
Mhm.
something.
I don't know why it would be anything more than, a Bluetooth that,
Well, yeah,
You know.
it's not the same technology, apparently. It's
Okay.
not Bluetooth.
okay,
It's similar, but it's different.
okay. All right, I'll definitely ask about it
Yeah.
when the time comes, so. Okay,
Keep that up, I'll have to be on jury duty.
I guess I got, one more thing here that we can cover real quickly before we move to our next scheduled agenda item. That, it's the Christmas hams. I assume that, it will be okay to do what we've done in the past. And that is we try and get, all the employees a Christmas ham.
Right.
So, well, I guess the term should be holiday ham.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll probably let me back up, holiday ham.
Okay.
So, it just was easier to write.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we got that okay. Sandy, we can, go ahead.
Okay, and I'll do that. I've got a few concerns with, and maybe Leslie knows better, but with the change in ownership at the Thriftway down in Arlington. I haven't had a chance to talk to them about.
I had to contact them from the cemetery district.
Mhm.
I called, I talked to someone, I just called and said, can I talk to the manager or the owner? And he was there, and
Okay.
I told him that what we wanted to do with the cemetery district was a couple hams, and he said, no problem.
Okay.
So, I mean, you might just give him a call.
Okay.
Okay.
While we're on this topic, can I also get you to talk about if you want to have a holiday party for the employees this year?
Sure.
A holiday party, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in the past, we've had difficulties in really being able to get dates set.
Right.
It's really easy to get a date set on a Monday and Tuesday, but nobody ever wants to do it.
Last year, didn't we do it kind of after county court?
We did. We had kind of a, shall I say, an early dinner, lunch, whatever, here.
Oh, yeah.
If I remember right, I think we went downstairs and,
Yeah.
everybody ate. And,
Had a fair turnout, I thought.
well, we did get some, the road department employees.
Some of
all
them.
came over and,
Some of them made it,
yep,
I remember, yeah, which, that's always been a little bit iffy
sure.
for some reason. Yeah.
It was nice to get a chance to sit down and talk and visit with everyone. I thought it was good.
Well,
So, maybe schedule it, I guess, on the day of a county court meeting.
yeah.
December 5th?
Yeah, I think it's gonna have to be that day.
5th or the 19th.
I think the 19th would be in Arlington, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it would. Yeah, good point.
I look forward to those Arlington days.
December 19 is
Arlington.
Arlington.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you guys want to do just so much what you did last year, just following county court, something here, or pass you downtown?
That's okay with me unless somebody has a better idea.
I think that would be fine.
Yeah.
A little concerned on the agenda on December 5th. I can't remember what we did last year. Did we eat and then come back up and finish some business, or did we start early? I can't remember.
Go back and look.
Yeah.
Just follow, if we follow what we did last year.
Okay, all right.
I mean, it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think this is Rachel's purview, so I'll pass this on to her.
Yeah.
Okay, so that takes care of a couple of little on the agenda type discussion items. Okay, we also, real quickly, I think we can take care of item 2.8. It's a county road right-of-way that Windway Communications is looking to bury the fiber that we had the discussion that Adam Haas will be the project manager for. It's fairly simple. It kind of starts at, well, looks like Blaylock Road and Cedar Springs and what would be yeah, I guess it goes beyond that, maybe down around the industrial park. And then goes to Barnett Road, follows Barnett Road all the way up to Miclo. From there, it shifts over to Clem Road.
So it looks like it's going up the old Ray Road for a while.
Well,
It's
I'm
not
not.
on the county road there, according to that line.
I'm not really sure. I think it's just the, utilizing these specific maps, because I don't think so. Mike, because the old railroad is just, it's off of, it would have required some easements that they would have had to gotten, but I don't.
I mean, that part's not ours.
It sure looks that way.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's hard to tell with this scale of the map.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's just the county road right next to it or not.
Has our planning department not signed off on it yet?
They have now.
Yeah.
When it was turned in initially, they hadn't, but I gave it to Michelle, she reviewed it, and she signed off on it now.
So it says here, I can't figure out for sure, are we talking 3 duct, 1 duct, or what? That line's all messed up there too.
It should be, it's definitely within the contract that we have, or that the city and Gilliam County have with Windwave is for 3 conduit, 3 ducts. Yeah.
Yeah, I just,
It's definitely
seemed
not
like
one.
for the record, that should be.
Right.
That is a
Clarified
little
for
bit
sure.
iffy there.
Yeah.
Then I think the other thing I brought to Sandy's attention was that there's really no address here other
And
than
I've got the complete address now.
the box number.
Yeah.
So, I haven't talked to the roadmaster about this, how he signed off on this driveway deal with this many mistakes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he went out and rode with him, they went and rode the.
Yeah, they've been touring the route for
Right.
at least, I think, 3 years now, so.
Well, it was recently that he did this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most recent. I believe the route started, maybe, it might have even been 4 years ago when it was first discussed.
But I know they came through Clinton recently and have Dewey said that they just recently went over it. So may not be the same as 4 years ago.
May not.
Yeah. So with the planning department, we must have to have, we will want a copy that's all up to snuff here, that before we actually sign.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
the signature copy has.
Has all that.
Okay.
It's been,
Okay.
the addresses have been filled in and she has signed off on it.
Okay, so I move we approve the application for activities in the Gilliam County right-of-ways with one-way communications and, as presented in the final copy with including the map showing the route for the installation of fiber optic cable, three duct.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the application for activities in the Gilliam County right-of-way with Windwave Communications for the installation of fiber optic cable lines and 3 duct lines as presented with the application, including maps. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
They have changed this form a little bit because previously it didn't have this line
Yeah, explanation
for
Right.
other construction. I mean,
Right.
they put fiber optic down on the telephone.
Well, I'm kind of, just for Ruben's knowledge, this was something that Will Carey was not real comfortable with this document. I'm not sure that legal counsel ever had input in drafting what this is.
Yeah.
I think this, may have just been something that the county road department got 30 years ago, kind of thing. So
Got a copy.
yeah,
Some-
and have been,
somebody.
yeah, using it, and so
Yeah.
it might be something that we consider.
Yeah, why don't I take a look at it and see if there's
Yeah.
some changes that can be made?
Right.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good point. Because
It just never seems to come up enough to where it's like, okay, we need to, yeah.
One of those things though where we could have a form that's ready to go.
Yeah.
So when it comes up, we have all the info we need.
Right, right. Okay, we have it's item number 1.6, and it's to consider the sale of our sheriff's sale of some property in Arlington. It's a foreclosed property. It's got quite a history, to be perfectly honest. And I remember the individual's name, Bill and Margaret. And the other day, I could not think of Bill's first name to save my soul, so, which was a little frustrating. I do have to say that I believe from the original document that was sent out to us that determined the value of the property, Commissioner Weimer questioned it pretty extensively and felt that it needed to be reassessed.
yeah. I'm surprised we got a new valuation so quick.
Well, I don't think there's a whole lot there to really
Yeah.
evaluate. It's kind of ironic, though, I believe there's an interested party.
Well, yeah, that's true too.
So there was a minimum bid that was put on there, $10,000, but that was highlighted for us to really, make a determination on what we think that ought to be. Did you, yeah.
Yeah, that was just, Sandy just threw out a number for us.
Exactly.
Just a placeholder.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we haven't had this property very long now.
No, we haven't, a short period of time, really, to be honest. I think it was foreclosed,
Within the last year.
yeah,
Yeah.
short. I was thinking 6 months, but
Yeah.
it could be,
Yeah, this spring.
yeah.
You mean that did it go through the proper period, the 1 or 2 or 3 years that it has to?
They have waived.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and they voluntarily turned it over. They had, it was inherited,
Okay.
and they had no interest in it at all. They were glad to be rid of it.
So we got a deed in lieu of foreclosure?
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
And they didn't deed it over to the city of Arlington.
No, they did the county.
And so we paid to have goats raised on it.
Yep.
Okay.
Take your
Letting the
Mormon
public
crickets.
know more about this little piece of property.
What's that?
I said, well, I'm just trying to let the public know about this piece of property and
Yeah.
how much it's worth to us, I mean, the problem with keeping it is that the city of Arlington is going to make us keep it clean.
Right,
From
right,
a standpoint of fire hazard.
Right.
And, well, and to help keep normal crickets down. So it's not just a piece of property just sitting.
Right.
And somebody else taking care of it.
Right.
So that, to me, is a real good motivation for the city, for the county here to try to find somebody else to
Take over
have
that
take
obligation.
ownership on it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I really did disagree, I couldn't believe it when I saw the value on this piece of property, because I couldn't see, just off the top of my head, I could not see that
Yeah.
value. Now, maybe other people that are,
Oh, I certainly didn't see the value, but also didn't, it was like, I don't work closely in the assessor's office on what empty lots and
Yeah.
that kind of value would be. So,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
But to me, it's, unless you're really interested in standing on a rock bluff looking over the city park or.
it's commercial property according to the zoning.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
But it would, to me, having looked at this property when I've been in Arlington, it would take a lot of money to make it buildable. And so, to me, of course, I remember we had another lot in Arlington that was adjacent to somebody's place, and, we ended up making a sale to them because nobody else was interested.
Right.
Yeah. So, that was, it was like $5,000, and it was this hillside deal. And they came in and did something with it, so.
So what do you think for a minimum bid?
Well, yeah, it looks like the 10,000 really might be a good number to try out. The assessor's value, he's got at 95.40.
Right.
Yeah.
The liability, the tax liability against it is
Yeah, that'll come good. It'll cover that.
Right.
Yeah, cover that. I mean, that's another way is put the minimum that covers the tax liability.
Yeah,
That's another idea.
I'm not very familiar with this form, but why does it say residential? Across the top of it.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
that's a good point. Well, did you value it as residential versus commercial?
Thought, well, you probably know this, but I thought that piece of property was commercial,
That's
zoned
what-
commercial in the city of Arlington.
It is, I don't know why it's
Yeah.
residential.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be, but.
Yeah, I missed that.
Put bold letters
I mean, it's
too.
right
Well,
there,
I had,
huge, but
yeah, yeah. Well, here it says exempt on this one.
yeah,
I mean, I hadn't looked at this one
yeah.
till now,
Okay.
yeah. So, I mean, that might take a little more explanation from the
Yeah.
assessor's office.
Over on the top left corner, under administrative information, it does say Arlington Commercial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, and that's in the tiny print.
Right.
Got it.
Well, that's the
I think
neighborhood.
that's where it
Right.
is. There.
But the property class says residential.
Oh, it does, it does.
Right below that, vacant.
Would you like me to get
Go
Chad?
get the assessor.
Maybe so.
Yeah, send his mom after him.
He may not come though.
Oh, kill him. Grab him by the ear, he'll be here.
Have a
So
list.
I just have a
Get-
question. Are you guys looking at signing court order today to put this to the sheriff's office for sale? Because the reason why I ask is because normally what happens is you guys give us 60 days from the date that you guys sign the court order. And I'm really, because of this being November, December, and then 60 days would be January 7th, if that's what you're looking at, I would request that you go 2 more weeks out if you could, if you're gonna go from today.
What I have written in there right now, and of course it's for you guys to decide, is January 31st.
Perfect. That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Okay, that's, yeah. It's like, I didn't want to get stuck with right
Yeah.
after New Year's or whatever, so, okay, thank you.
So now repeat that.
So she was worried about, from the time, if you guys issue this, how much time they have to actually hold the sale.
Oh,
And so right now I have it in as on or before January 31st.
oh,
And that gives her the time, because of the holidays over the next couple of months.
right, okay. Yeah,
Okay.
just the height, you know, it's a time when real estate really sells.
Right.
It's a jet.
Yeah. Everybody's wanting to be out here on the courthouse steps.
Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
So we have a few questions, I guess. First of all, over in this area up here, it calls it commercial property within the city of Arlington. Here in the bold print, it says residential. Not really sure what, and this is a piece, sorry about that.
And under property class, it says something that looks like residential as
Okay.
well.
So Mike called me yesterday and was questioning the value on the property. And this property didn't have any adjustments on it, and we haven't done any residential studies since I've taken over. And there's never been any question on the value, so it had stayed at full value. And that's how it's been for the past, since the beginning, since it's been valued. So after Mike called, we went and took a look at it and decided that yes, it does have some issues and it should have a discounted value. So we put a 90% depreciation factor on it because of the topography. And we decided that it's a very rough estimate because we don't have really any comparables or anything to use to compare it to. We just made an estimate on what it would cost to develop the pad so that you could build a house or a business or whatever you decided to build on there. and we weren't sure whether you would use it as a commercial property or if it would be used as a residential property. And I think that's why this came out as a residential property when it's really classed as a commercial property, because we went back and forth. And it looks like this should have been back to commercial. We left it commercial. There can be used as, get a conditional use permit to be used for residents.
We're trying to determine the highest and best use versus the
Yeah.
zoning versus the market, and we kind of looked at it both ways.
Yeah, so we're just going back and forth. This isn't, the copy we gave you isn't what the current record represents. This was just, okay, this is what the value probably should be and it will be changed in the year. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Because it was valued too high.
It did
Does that
make
help?
sense. Yeah, it did.
Yeah, I understand the confusion because it is commercial property and then it has a
Yeah,
residential.
okay.
Yep, I think that's.
That helps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you, guys.
Yep, you're welcome. Yeah.
Sherry, thank you for,
Oh, you're welcome.
you know,
Sure.
fetching us.
They don't expect it.
Thank you. So what do you think?
It's steep.
Yeah. The price is steep?
Everything's steep. Yeah, that price might be a good place to start.
Yeah.
The placeholder.
The placeholder, what's there?
Yeah.
You want, so if it's at 9,500, do you want to start higher than that? Usually you guys are under the market value.
Yeah. So can we go a range? Is that, I mean, what if we said?
No, you need to
No?
set a minimum.
Minimum, okay. Yeah.
All right.
You don't have to have any, you could do no minimum.
You could do a no minimum.
Do you have to take the offer then if it's
Yeah, because somebody can walk in and buy it for $1.
very low?
That's why you would want to at least go back to the tax.
Yeah,
You
that's.
want to at least be recapturing the taxes and court fees, which is about 5,000.
I would look at it this way, how much what kind of bid would make you happy versus just keeping it? I mean, that's,
Oh, boy.
that's really
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, see, that's where.
We'd be happy with the taxes.
Get the taxes.
And we don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
That really.
That's where I would be with it, because I see a lot of future issues.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
see a maintenance cost for us
Absolutely.
above
Yep.
the loss of tax.
Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind that we're talking about yearly having to go down and figure out how to get a weed eater up through there, or goats,
More votes.
hire goats.
Yeah.
That did work pretty well, though, so it was a little expensive.
I just have one more question on this resolution. It says a court case number 14-0012CC.
Oh,
Is that the court number that it was foreclosed under?
Yeah, the circuit court number, yeah.
Okay,
Which is the same number as the last property that we just did, which, by the way, sells tomorrow, hopefully.
Oh, because we do them all, we list a
They're-
bunch of
they're
properties into
grouped.
one, and, okay,
Yeah,
okay, gotcha.
That's why if it looks familiar, it's,
That's the problem, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
yeah.
so it looks
Looks good.
Okay.
good.
Okay.
And so, the real question is, what is the number, looking at it, from looking at the total tax? So we could add the delinquent, take the delinquent plus this year's tax.
The taxes, I mean, that should be up to date
Yeah,
from when it was foreclosed on.
Yeah.
And then there's
right.
about $300 in court fees, processing fees.
Well, yeah, the tax for this year would be appealed right away if we go with what you know, I mean, the tax bill's already basically been made, right? And it's
Yeah.
gonna be using the old value,
Right.
yeah. So,
Won't be a pop to issue, will it?
well, that's why I'm trying to avoid that for you. Yeah. So if we, I mean, because we don't know exactly those numbers, I mean, it's in the ballpark, $5,000. You know,
That would cover the back taxes and
the taxes, yeah.
Yeah. And it'd come close probably to cover the administrative fees that are
Yeah.
involved with it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, I like $5,000.
Okay.
Okay. So I would move we approve order number 2018-03, matter of an order directing the Gilliam County Sheriff to conduct a sale of county property that is under the property tax account number 801 and put a minimum bid of $5,000. And the sale, we don't have, do we need to specify that?
So it's in there, the sale no later than January 30th.
And that's within the order number.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve the order number 2018-03, matter of an order directing the Gilliam County Sheriff to conduct a sale of county property in the tax account number 801 with a minimum bid of $5,000. Okay?
Yep.
All right. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good. All right. Okay,
Well,
let's.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was a little bit, you know, I mean, put it on the agenda,
Yeah.
really,
Well,
I guess, I'm glad we did a little research on
yeah. Yeah.
it.
Well, it was a little bit shocked in the price or the value, and it wasn't just necessarily me. I think we all were. So, okay, let's move on to the next agenda item that we have here, and it's the lease, and it's a property lease and track usage agreement at Shelter Station Industrial Park with Omega Morgan. Omega Morgan has really is interested in leasing basically the entire industrial park, or anything that's not being used right now as far as property. We have there were no changes to the track agreement, was there, from what we had in the past? Did you? I didn't pick up on any
Not
changes.
much. I mean, you know, there were a few comments here and such that were off. Gosh, you know what? For the most part, no. I mean, I
Yeah,
cleaned up some grammatical things, but I can't think of anything that was big that I changed. I did change the liability insurance because that was an old agreement and made it so that it's the same as the lease. And that was about it.
Okay.
Judge, may I interrupt just for a minute? Is there any possibility there's an extra copy of the lease I could just have a quick look at? Good, thanks.
This has like 3 different agreements that have to do, just do this one thing, just a resolution, we need this agreement.
I think it's all, yeah, it's okay to have them all in there. But we have to lease the entire usage.
I'm just wondering about the resolution.
Resolution.
It's okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was okay myself.
Just want to make sure it's in our agenda, right?
Yeah.
Well, the rule is that the agenda needs to reasonably apprise people of what the subject matter is that's going to be covered. A resolution is in entering into a lease is basically a formality required by a statute that we make some particularized findings, but it should be a normal course of entering into a lease, so we're okay.
Yeah, this one, it basically, the lease of the property is where, exactly what our, the prices that we have for the industrial park.
Right.
$750 for the first acre, $400 for everything after that. It's basically the difference between what the current agreement that we have with the Mega Morgan is, it's 3 acres that they're leasing, and now it will be 35 total acres.
Right. And at one time I think they had most of this property, well, not stuff across the road, but
Right.
they had the other part for a while.
Right.
Everything for a while there, and then they kept cutting back.
Yeah, specifically the piece that's north of the IBR building, they cut back first.
Yeah.
And
okay.
then there basically are 3 parcels in the south of the IBR building, north, middle, and south.
Right.
And they had been really running about 75% of the north piece is what they had been leasing.
Right.
Yeah.
And that still leaves some area for someone else to lease if they really wanted to, because there's been talk of other entities.
Right, so there's area, undeveloped area, or I guess I should say partially developed area north and south of the grain lab.
Right.
That would have to be upgraded, gravelled, some culverts put in for entrance. The rest of it is taken up. Either the far north end, you have the batch plant,
Right.
which has an acre in their agreement, and there's about a ½ acre, I guess, just right east of what they're renting, that's not included, so that's,
Oh, yeah, that little
there's a little wet
rectangle
shed.
there.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah. And, I mean, the other party that was interested, is that moving any at all?
Yeah, of course, where that is at is they are trying to work an agreement to sublease from Omega Morgan.
Oh.
Yeah, so, but
But that
also,
takes our agreement too.
Right.
yeah,
Yes.
that will. They're,
Okay.
yeah, if they were talking about staging out in the middle of the project, but there's quite a few issues, power, getting to them, things like, broadband, there was phone, and so consequently, it's trying to weigh all of that, and then the subleasing from Omega Morgan, and also whether, maybe developing, because,
Yeah. Okay, just,
so it's there.
I just didn't, I wanted to make sure we weren't forcing them out.
Nope.
No, that's the important thing.
I had a conversation, well, it was yesterday afternoon with the individual from, and the other.
Well, they're all working on the same project.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That too. I mean,
Yeah, it's the
make sure it
one
wasn't
that's.
different projects. I
Yeah,
can see.
Omega Morgan, what they're going to be doing is they actually will be unloading, they have the towers, the blades, and the turbines are going to be coming in by rail, and they want to be able to stage in this location. The other company that's interested is the general contractor, who's looking for, probably to put in double-wide trailers for offices and things like that, so, yeah. And they would like to also, discussion has been around them possibly leasing
Grain lab.
the grain lab.
Yeah. Right.
So I don't, but per my conversation, probably 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon, they still hadn't made up their mind, and they had not come to an agreement with Omega Morgan.
Oh.
And again, the reason is they're weighing all of these other things that are involved.
Oh, yeah, because I mean, I've seen these general contractors go out in the middle of the field, level, gravel it.
Right.
Right. Which I think was their original plan before they became aware of the crane lab.
Oh, yeah.
And then, but if they do it out in the field, don't they have to remove it?
A lot of the time they have to remove it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because of being exclusive farm use.
Right.
Right.
And so those are some of the things that they're weighing also. And, well, we charge them and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's really sort of, at this point, aside from this, but you know, if they're moving in a bunch of trailers, do we gotta, how much infrastructure are we gonna have to?
Well, I don't believe anything, Mike. We've already got more than enough power there. We've got.
What about, well, I mean, the sewer system, water system, hookups or whatever?
They haven't asked for any of that.
Yeah.
Okay. And most of the time, probably the reason that they bring in porta potties, they have their own,
Yeah.
it's amazing, I mean, you know, their own water system that.
Anyway,
Okay.
well,
So,
I think this lease, I think, then I don't have any reservations about going ahead with the lease of this to maybe more. So which step do we do first? The resolution, or does it matter?
No, let's start with the lease. I guess we don't have dates in then that it's gonna commence yet, I'm sure.
well, yeah, we do on the property of the rail, and that would be immediately was.
The meeting date?
Today.
Today,
Yeah.
right.
So.
Okay.
So November 7th.
But I mean, you know, if we,
Okay, yeah.
you know, I guess I would have, had I had knowledge of this the middle of October, we probably would have set the, you know, November 1 date, but.
Right.
Judge,
Yes.
if it would be appropriate, could I, before you actually get into action, could I offer up just a couple of quick comments?
Sure, yeah, come on up, Les.
For the record, Les Rivard, and I wanted to ask just a couple things, mostly from the perspective as usual of procedure, that I don't have any problem with what you're probably about to do. But I'm wondering whether or not there should be a touching base here, maybe Ruben would know, with the port's executive development officer or the commission itself in terms of how this overlays with the ports district, whether there's been that communication, just as a matter of procedure. And then two, the first I heard of this was your mention of it, Judge, at the Tri-County Court meeting, and I'm just wondering, given that it is an agenda item, there is the opportunity for the court to extend what you've done now, the opportunity for me and others to comment on it, whether that scenario was, how far along previously has that been known? And I'm not raising any issues with anybody's, involvement at this point. As a matter of process, though, I think it's kind of important for something like this, even though it's more an administrative matter, given the application involved and the property involved, and maybe it might be something going forward that a process or a issue like this could be a little bit more made known. Am I making any sense here? I hope so.
I think so.
Kind of like that issue you and I, Judge, took before the Business Oregon Commission, that spectrum of the window of opportunity, as we called it, for public comment.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's, and what he brings up is really always kind of difficult because we have property, we have a pricing structure that is set there, and this property has a use,
Right.
and you get an entity that comes in that wants that use, and says, we're looking for the opportunity to be able to tie it up and get moving on it as quickly as we possibly can, because we need to, because of the project. And how long does this project, I mean, the process get drug out?
Well, and that depends somewhat on the type of transaction that you are contemplating. If it's property that you own that was not obtained through foreclosure, then there is that process by statute. Then there is and you're selling it, then there is that process. A sale or a 99-year lease, something that's considered permanent, then there is that extra procedure. For something that's just a 1-year lease of property, it doesn't rise to that level where you have to do notice and have public comment and things like that. So there's, by statute, there is a distinction there.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it sounds,
That sounds reasonable.
It does to me too. You know, in all honesty, I mean, it was, the call came in to me. I was, well, let Sandy know, who contacted Leslie, who was our industrial park commissioner. And then everything kind of rolled and began sort of happening at that point, you know. And it was difficult because we were receiving just a little bit of pressure from Omega Morgan on, you know, can we get this sort of rolling? And I guess this is something that we probably need to begin addressing sometime too. During the same time, the port, Peter Mitchell, was negotiating with the other company for the use of big portions of this property.
There's
a bit of an
important point that needs to be resolved.
Exactly. So
There has to be better communication. And I mean, anytime that they have something, they need to let us know immediately.
yeah, and that definitely, but
It must come fairly fast.
well,
But I don't know how long, you know. At least we knew about it before we got in.
With that, basically, Peter called and let me know that he was talking to this company, and the next day he called and said he had leased it to him.
Oh.
Okay, it was that fast. That was what we knew of it. And for myself, I have no idea what authorities the port has to do that. I really am not sure.
yeah, I didn't think so either, but anyway, I think that's something we do have part of that conversation that we can have a little bit later. It's under item 2.4, so, you know, I guess really now where we're at is just the discussion of whether we want to approve these lease agreements.
So,
Lease and usage.
so which do we say?
Start with the lease.
I think with the lease.
The lease, okay, all right. I move we approve the lease, the lease of real property, Gilliam County Shuttler Station to Omega Morgan in the amount of, the area is described in Exhibit A, that's 35 acres.
Right.
And with our standard lease price of
$750 for the first, $400 for each additional.
and commencing today for 1 year.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the lease of real property at Gilliam County Shuttler Station to Omega Morgan. I guess for 35 total acres in the amount of $750 for the first acre and $400 for every acre after that, as presented in the map on agreement.
Yeah.
Any further? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Good. All right, now we have a track usage and storage agreement. There is kind of a second page here. It's a colorful one that sort of gives us what our prices are. It's Exhibit B.
What's that, Ron?
Do they?
Yeah, they do. It was in your file somewhere. Yeah, it's the map and then
This
on the
map-
back page.
On the back page, yeah.
Oh.
Or one of the back pages. One of those. Maybe not.
I found it.
Did you? Okay. Guess I printed my own off.
So, yeah, so right now, our other waste management, or other, just our general price, did we increase it from 2 to 3 for the car?
No, not for.
The rest of those are still 2?
Yeah.
Right. This, okay. And, yeah. 40 foot, right? That's what we've had before, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That the entire industrial park, the plan that is there keeps that, it's 40 foot all the way through, so.
Right.
Virtually any additional track that is planned in the facility will go from the track that is there and be to the west of the existing track. So this 40-foot buffer shouldn't affect any of the, now the stuff that's really what would be on the north side of the IBR building is a little bit different because the property that sits west of the, for lack of a better way of saying it, the supply line that comes in is owned by Union Pacific.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah.
we do have it planned out if we're ever able to get the property from Union Pacific, but.
Yeah. You guys voted for it anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Okay, so then I move we approve the track usage and storage agreement at 9 exclusive license with Omega Morgan on this date, November 7th. And with the Exhibit B, track usage rates.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the track usage and storage agreement with Omega Morgan, beginning on this date, utilizing the Exhibit B for the pricing structure. Okay.
Ending 1 year from today.
And ending 1 year from today.
Okay, yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, there being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so now we have a,
I move we adopt resolution number 2018-18 to authorize the lease agreement between Gilliam County and Omega Morgan.
Second.
okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 2018-18, resolution between Gilliam County, for Gilliam County to authorize lease agreement between Gilliam County and Omega Morgan. Any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, good. Okay, it's perfect time to recess for lunch. Go ahead and get ourselves back into session. It is 2:03.
103?
1:03? Thank you. Thank you.
We gotta get that right.
I know.
Okay. My iPad says 101, so. Okay, maybe we could start off with some action items here. We've got consider the of the claims. We've got the October 3rd minutes and the October 17th minutes.
I move we approve the October claims pending review.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the October claims pending review. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Minutes, you want to discuss those?
On the October 3rd minutes, since I gave Sandy a bunch of corrections and I wasn't sure how they came out, I just wanted to look at it one more time, and as far as I was concerned, I looked at it, everything was fine. As corrected.
I couldn't find a red line or whatever copy.
I have never been able to find the red lines.
Oh.
I don't get it.
For some reason that they
They
don't come
don't-
through on that. and
Yeah.
I don't know how to fix it.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I move we would approve the October 3rd regular meeting minutes as they were corrected.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the October 3rd regular meeting minutes as corrected. Any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, can I go ahead and tell you a couple comments I had on October 17th? And I meant to call you, but like I said, it got away from me. On page 2, when it's talking about, right at the matter of the order of number 2018-02, it says, in the matter of a land use application by ODOT for an aggregate site known as Philippi Canyon Quarry? Is there supposed to be a word after Philippi Canyon something?
We can add it in.
Because it just says an aggregate site known as Philippi Canyon.
Yeah,
Is that what it's
but-
called?
no, it's not
The
yet.
the aggregate site is
Right.
a quarry. I mean, it's the same thing.
I think it just misses a word.
Well,
On the
aggregate site
on the
is-
document, it just said Philippi Canyon, that's right.
Okay.
Okay,
But
then that's fine. I just thought it was missing a word. accidentally.
Aggregates, a quarry would be actually where you blow it, you do,
I just didn't know if it had a different
Yeah.
name. But if it's just called, known as Philippi Canyon,
Yeah.
then that's okay.
Yep.
Okay, so, and then a little later, halfway down the page, it says, right before the motion, it says, in response to a question asked by Commissioner Weatherall, Turi said that the board would have the discretion to determine what is appropriate within the maximum amount allowable. And right before that, we were talking about size-wise, and so when I brought up, I was talking monetary. So I just wondered if you could throw in a word there somewhere to make that, so we don't get confused with what Judge Schaefer was speaking about right before that, about that there should be a size requirement.
Oh.
So, because when I was talking about, I was talking about what you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll call that a maximum dollar amount.
And then this is a question, this may be what was said, but it just made me pose this question. On page 3, it said, like, I don't know, about 2 inches down the page, it says, however, he said research reveals that Connect Oregon no longer exists.
Oh.
And are they done? I mean, is that, does Connect Oregon no longer exist?
That's what he says.
That's what he said.
Even though it may not be true.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's just,
That was his statement.
I
Yeah.
just wanted to,
Believe that.
just wanted to clarify that for my own,
Right.
my own.
It's being revamped. Of course, every round they revamp it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the bottom of page 7, just right at the very bottom sentence, I didn't look at these for a couple days, but, okay, it says Judge Schaefer explained that the AOC General Fund borrowed funds from the county road program due to inadequate accounting and a change in accounting systems. And I'm thinking that needs a little more clarification, because that's not why they borrowed the funds, that's why the funds weren't repaid, was due to inadequate accounting and a change in the accounting system.
Okay, so.
Because it looks like,
very good.
it looks
Due
like that's
to
why.
inadequate accounting and change in the accounting systems, funds were never repaid.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Good change.
And, and then just lastly, this is just another question I have. On page 10, right before we ended, it says the court also decided that employees will be released early on Christmas Eve. But was that just how did that end up going, that conversation?
That we would only work a half a day on Christmas Eve. Is that-
Right.
Yeah, it was just going to be a half a day, but the employees would be paid for a full day.
Okay, I just couldn't remember. I didn't have a chance to go back and listen to the tape or anything, but
Yeah.
that was all the questions I had.
That I guess is one of them, that's one of them I had.
You have a question about that too?
When I saw that, right. I knew it wasn't just, it's a little more specific than that.
Yeah, I think,
I didn't have anything else. What about you?
I was good. I really was.
You're doing a good job.
Yeah. You caught in two things I didn't catch. All right. I would entertain a motion to approve.
So, I would move we approve the regular court meeting minutes of October 17th as corrected.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the regular county court, to approve the county court regular meeting minutes from October 17th as corrected. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now I've got item 2.4, which is a request for funds, budgeted funds for the Port of Arlington. These are part of the irrigation project study, feasibility study, I guess, for feasibility report. We told them we would pay based on as the invoices come to us.
So, yeah, I move we approve the release of budgeted funds to Port of Arlington on invoice for an amount of $2,601.50.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the dispersal of funds to the Port of Arlington for the irrigation feasibility study in the amount of $2,601.50. Any further discussion? There being none? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that kind of leads me a little bit to the port. We had kind of and it's really more of a question to you, Commissioner Weimer. When we last, we discussed the Port of Arlington and the issues that Jim and Cena Wright brought to us. One of the things that was discussed was the possibility of setting up a special meeting to sit down and maybe go over with the port board and the county court as to coming up with a solution to the $750,000. I put out an email to a feeler to see what the interest was. It was brought back to my attention that you had made the statement that no, this should be something that goes to the next county court. I thought you said that jokingly. Maybe I was wrong. So my question is that something that that you feel should go to the next?
Well, actually, I mean, what I think that then I emailed something to Sandy about, that we ought to get all the paperwork and everything and review it and decide what, what we should do with.
Yeah. I believe you sent that.
Yeah, so I sent the original agreement and all the different minutes that I could find that related to it out to you guys. And I think both commissioners had said that they want to have a discussion here before going back to the court. So I guess that's where we're at.
Okay.
And I haven't looked at that stuff yet.
Well, it was fairly similar to virtually everything that Jim had supplied to us. I think there was one additional document.
Well, it looked like, when I haven't looked at it either, but it looked like as I scrolled through, there was quite a bit more minutes that maybe you added to the end of
Yes.
that document.
Yeah, all the minutes were, I mean, that was all new stuff. That wasn't anything that Jim
Right.
had
Right.
submitted. But there's nothing in the minutes, I can't find anything where that IGA was either dismissed, amended, replaced in any way. So,
Yeah.
and I can't find anywhere in the minutes where they were released from the obligation.
And my thought a little bit too on moving forward was that I wanted the opportunity to hear from legal counsel as to what our responsibility is, or what theirs is, or.
And I've taken a look at the IGA, and I'm talked to Peter a little bit, and really what I need to do is get one, either the county report on board with another attorney before I start.
Commenting either way.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly am not discouraging you from taking a look at things and chatting about where you want to go, but yeah, I need to get someone in, and I already have a short list of attorneys as potential conflict counsel for you lined up. I'll be talking to the court about the very same thing next Tuesday. So I think that's the next step here, if there's going to be any approach as far as enforcing that idea. I shouldn't be in the position where I'm saying to the court, we're enforcing this, or,
Yeah, you can't really.
He decided in the long run doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, it's simple enough, though. I mean, we don't have that much come up could be considered adversarial to the court. Before we do anything regarding negotiations or getting pen to paper, we just get another attorney involved so that they can represent one person or the other. The court already has some ideas of what they want, so I think that's pretty smooth.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and the one point about, that it's the taxpayers' money, well, either way, it's taxpayers' money. So, I mean, it's just, I think it's a matter of getting this, just an understanding of it a better understanding, so that, so somebody down the road doesn't come back
And say virtually the same thing. And that's the kind of conversation I've had with Peter, is that, I don't think that I think Peter was in favor of just, this is a document that never had any meaning to us. And so, and I just didn't feel that, I just felt that wasn't the, well, it didn't he's of the opinion it doesn't, because none of it come to fruition.
It doesn't have, he doesn't think it has meaning now.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess.
I think we disagree with him on that a little bit.
Yeah, and again, at the time that the money was, it was the host fee, economic development funds that were available, that were given to the court and developing this economic development opportunity. It wasn't necessarily given to the port, it was, well, yeah, it was given to the port to develop. And it didn't come to fruition, and I just feel that you have a lot of knowledge of what went on at that particular time. I feel as I do. I'm not sure how much you feel, Leslie.
Not nearly as much.
And to just, for us to walk away from something of that significance, I mean, it's $750,000, and turn it over to people who don't know the circumstances with it. I find it, I find that a little bit difficult to accept.
Well,
not that I'm saying that this IGA is something that has any meaning other than there's $750,000 that's there.
Right.
And whether there's a payback schedule or there's not, makes no difference to me one way or the other. I just feel that the entire circumstances that caused this to get into this situation needs to be brought forward and put into one document or one meeting that says, okay, here's how we come to this solution.
Right, right.
But I wasn't sure, I mean, you know, whether you, I got the impression that you were laughing about it, whether it was.
Yeah.
Laughing but kind of serious?
But kind of serious, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I know we've talked to them already, and it seems like they more or less tried to sidestep the whole thing.
Judge, would you entertain an opportunity to comment?
Yeah, would you like to come up to the,
He has probably more history than I have on this.
Let's remark for the record, 1228 Lower Rock Creek Lane. And I had intended to take off for home here at lunchtime, but I'm kind of glad I stuck around. And I want to make a suggestion here that might not be realistic given the time period involved over the next couple of months, but I think what everyone is leading up here in terms of the discussion of the history and what you might want to do going forward, my suggestion would be that there be sort of a summit of the county court and the port commission and the staffs to look at all of the issues that are on the table, courtesy of what Jim and Cena have brought forth, but also the overall direction that needs to be planned for here in terms of the role that the economic development officer at the port has. And as I understood, it was to have been on behalf of the county when it was first initiated, but has since changed. Right. So my suggestion is that maybe it's time before you leave office and the two of you and the new ones come in, or as a result of one of the first things the new team can do is have you folks at the table also in January and sit down with Ruben and whomever the other attorney might be by that time and just have a frank conversation that I think is really important to be held in the public domain versus an exec session that it could potentially involve. I hope I'm making a little bit of sense here.
No, actually you are, Les.
Because it seems to me this is a really good opportunity to move forward a little bit, not so much in terms of generating argument as in generating a better understanding overall amongst all the players involved of what the two roles are, the county court, the port commission, and the use of the executive or the economic development officer position as it was first imagined and as it is now is and as we might want it to be.
Mm-hmm. And most everything I agreed with you on there, other than I just feel that there's a portion there that the discussion of the economic development officer, the relationship between the port and the court going forward really ought to be something that the new court handles and has that kind of discussion.
So you're making a separation of the
I would separate the two of them, and
Yeah.
really what I was proposing was a specific work session that had nothing to do but this IGA agreement that we had and the, coming to a reasonable agreement that is tied strictly around the failure of the Willow Creek project.
Okay, I understand. And obviously, I'm taking it a step beyond that.
Yeah,
That's what my suggestion.
and I just wasn't sure, this court making a decision for the next court on the relationship. That's where I would come from.
Yeah, that part's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel that based on my, when I first came in, having to get really educated on what was going on, because when I first came into office, we were still paying some legal fees, and I was going to meetings with attorneys discussing what's going to be the next. Should we continue this? What do we do? When do we settle? How much more congressional help that you look at. And
We did end up, there was a meeting that.
We did,
The
yeah.
lawyer came and explained what
correct.
they thought we should do.
Exactly. And, so it was at that time that really, when the attorneys come, which I was probably in office for about 8 to 10 months, something like that. But by that time, I had really been and filled in on what was going on, so.
Well, I would just say one other thing, that perhaps the most meaningful and important relationship that the court has with any other entity is going to be with the port.
Yeah.
Especially given that this particular port is countywide.
Yep.
Thank you.
Excellent point. Excellent point.
Yep.
But again, I'm good either way. It is something that, for my first year and a half, it was maybe even 2 years, it was something that was right there and front and center for us. And then there was a settlement that was made, got done. And since that time, I've been trying to figure out a way that the county could have been brought back into the settlement. Because basically what happened was, everything kind of went to the direction of the port, in the Willow Creek project, and the Port of Arlington with it. And whether it was Connect Oregon funds, federal funds, county funds, and then when it failed, those funds were gone, and there was a reimbursement that come from the Corps of Engineers.
Right.
And the way those reimbursement funds have been handled, they've never come back to the table.
Right.
To be discussed, so. Again, I'm good either way, whatever you two feel.
Well, unless there's a change in the port, I think we're just, the only way anything will really happen is, if we really get serious about fighting it.
Well,
And that to me is a waste of county resources.
I'm not saying, I don't think that being confrontational, it may be that what we end up doing while sitting down and talking to them, because if, let's say we ask them for all $750,000 back at one time, well, we're just gonna dole it out back later, I just feel that we need to get something on the record that says that we had gotten together, we had discussed it, we had come up with a solution. And that solution could be pay us all back, or it could be, don't pay us anything at all. Could be anything in between.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yep. I doubt we'll get that done before the first of the year. Just considering the time, what else is happening during this time period.
Okay.
Because really, we're talking December now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last week in November, first part of December, then there's all kinds of difficulties.
Right. So maybe I let it sound like I was joking, but the reality's there.
Okay. Well, again,
I still think it needs to be done, and it's, for sure, the new court needs to address it, or it's, and somehow get this relationship between these two entities on track.
Yeah, because it was a little bit difficult the other day when we had, the Omega Morgan thing going on, and the next thing we know, we had an agreement with somebody who,
And that definitely can't happen. Do we have some sort of a just spoken agreement that he's working off of somewhere down the line about prior to now that says, he can go do these things? I don't think.
No, it's, the agreement, the spoken agreement is that,
Yeah.
We need to know, and at the very least, communication with me.
Yeah.
And we've had the conversation on many different occasions, because there may be things that in Salem or Pendleton, or for that matter, Boardman,
Right.
that maybe I'm in conversations with people on things, and I try and keep Peter posted on those, but I don't think it gets reciprocated. So, whenever there is something, it's usually a comment similar to, well, I have a client that I'm meeting with. That's the most information I get. Leslie, as the industrial park commissioner, I think any time that there's a discussion whatsoever that's going to happen down at the industrial park, you need to be involved with it and completely informed on every aspect of any discussion that's going on. So,
I mean, I think we've given him the go-ahead to market.
Sure.
But maybe that's going to take some type of a written type of an agreement to really spell it out better for him.
Sure. Yeah.
That's the other part. I mean, I think that's maybe really what has to happen.
When the port was made, the county's economic development office, was there anything, any kind of job description or expectations or checklist or anything?
Oh, no.
No.
I mean,
Okay.
it's just a verbal thing, as far as I remember.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find anything that, the court had an economic development person.
Right.
That person chose to, left the court, and I think discussions maybe with the port board to utilize the director of the.
He was their economic development director.
Right, and so the court, I think, just agreed, well, okay, let's just utilize one as opposed to having two.
Right.
I don't think there was anything formal, I don't think.
I mean, it may be in the record that we talked about it.
Yeah, I know that there's places in the minutes.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, it's in the strategic plan
Yeah.
that we have. So it's that, so. Okay, all right.
A lot more money came into the county coffers since then, too.
Well, yeah, most assuredly, a lot more money. Okay, we'll close out on that. We'll leave that up to the new court, and I'm gonna move on to a couple of things. Court member report, or not, correspondence. I did receive, and I think you both also received it because it went to all commissioners and judges from the Association of Oregon Counties. It's Michael Lassen, and it was discussing the dues formula that was set up, and it said at the October 8th AOC board meeting that they had made the decision that they were going to be sending invoices out later this week to all counties for a one-time payment assessment to go back to the county road program to replace the funds borrowed without prior board authorization. And they said that through a vast majority of the counties, they expressed the desire to pay the assessment in one lump sum. The board also voted to allow the counties flexibility should they need to spread this payment out over a number of years. So I guess Gilliam County is going to be receiving an invoice for what will be our portion of those funds. I believe we have agreed to pay
And
those.
AOC board, that's what they apparently, I mean, they agreed to do it this way.
Correct, yeah.
And they have one county, Jackson County, not in the association.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the issue is, with that, for me on that, is that Jackson County was there to reap the benefits.
Right back then.
Yeah, during that time.
They've been in and out.
In and out for, yeah, I guess quite a few times over the last 20 years, so. Anyway, I just wanted to make sure that was something that came to us, and I wanted to get.
Want that in the record for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get it here with it. Also.
Sandy, back in the record.
Yeah.
It's right there.
I don't
I also received something here the other day that was, I guess, hard. It says, "Dear Judge Schaefer, this is to inform you that I will no longer be taking minutes for the county court as of December 31st, 2018. Working with you has been a wonderful experience, but my workload is doubled and will soon triple. It's becoming increasingly more difficult for me to keep up, so I had to make this difficult decision." She's also beginning her master's degree program in January, so she expects to be very busy. She thanks us for the opportunity to work with us. This is Mary Dyer, so we need to be looking for somebody to begin taking minutes beginning the 1st of January.
We better start looking now.
We better start, yeah.
I move we accept the resignation of Mary Dyer as county recorder.
A second.
Okay. Do we want to use the word recorder?
Well, what is she?
Taking the minutes.
Taking the minutes.
Yeah.
The contractor.
Yeah.
Right, it's not really a resignation, it's just more of a breaking the contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Contract.
So do we have to accept, I mean, she's decided, it's a contract that we have with her.
We have a contract for a specific term. We don't.
Yeah, it was with 30-day notice.
Oh, was it not? I'd have to look at the contract. So the contract can be terminated on 30 days notice by either party.
Yep.
And you're designating the 31st, so.
Yeah,
we
December.
Accept the notice and that's about it.
Yeah.
I move we accept the notice.
Okay. All right.
Termination.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to accept the notice of termination with, and Mary, what's the name of your writing business?
High Desert Writing.
High Desert Writing. So,
Yeah.
okay. Discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really am sorry. Blues Mary.
I am too.
On this
I
job.
am too. Yeah.
Thank you.
But I understand too how much the workload has increased here in the past year. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Well, and going for a master's degree, that's
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
full time.
Yeah.
It does. It does.
Do we want to have Sandy repost the advertisement?
I think we do. I would say that.
So I have a question there. We had one other respondent last time we posted it. Can we simply reach out to that other proposer and check that first before we repost it? Or does the court want to consider staff changes that bring it back in-house?
Let's get rid of the motion on the table.
Yeah, let's get rid of that one. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Accepted. All right.
Well, I mean, it is possible that hasn't been that long back. Not many months.
Mary's did, yeah.
Just read it.
July
Did
1st.
that. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, was it July 1st that we did it, or was that before?
It was effective July 1st. We were a little late doing it,
Right.
but it was effective July 1st.
So we have this one individual that did express interest in doing it.
I would suggest re-advertising it. I think since we've advertised it and then had a break by hiring someone,
Right.
that, well,
I know on the road department, we had somebody hired and they, and then the open came up again and we went back to that same.
we don't necessarily have to advertise it. We could call up the person that submitted last time and try to contact 2 other people that offer the same or similar services. And then we've complied with our contracting side of it then.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm opining on here is the contracting side of it.
Right, and that's why we put the notice out last time, because that
We
had
don't
no
have
way to
anyone
find
to call.
Yeah, we
3,
did, yeah.
other than to just make a public offering and see if anybody bites.
And
There's not a lot of writing services in Gilliam County.
I'm thinking we better have an option here too.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the staff ability. I mean,
Well, is it possible to go ahead and put an ad out and then continue to discuss if there could be a potential restructuring and using in-house staff while the ad is already
sure.
out there? And then we
Yeah.
wouldn't have to necessarily hire someone that came from outside if we came up with another plan?
Yeah.
Sure.
And,
So we only
I
have,
mean, it really would be good for the new court to
Yeah.
be the one that really makes the final decision on it,
Right.
which leaves that gap that Sandy would have to figure out how to fill it.
Right. Yeah.
But I think that might make it better for the new court.
Okay, let's do that.
Unless they come and beg us to get it done before they come on board.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, the last, there are two things that I want to kind of, I really like the last thing that we get into is item 1.8. So I'd like to go to maybe court member reports. Prior to that, see if we can get through this real quickly. Any of you have anything that you want to report on? Because I have a few things here.
you want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was able to attend the Oktoberfest up at the new Flex building, up at the airport. It was a very nice occasion, and the building worked really well, and so that was pretty good. I also went to the church dedication for the Nazarene Church the following day. They had a slideshow, and it had a lot of pictures of the fire of the original church, and there was pretty much not a dry eye in the house, but it's a beautiful new building that they have, and so that was really nice. And then the last thing I was able to do was I did attend the Wyden Town Hall up at the Arlington High School. I was very impressed with the students. They did a great job. They asked some really good questions, and it was a good town hall. That's all I got.
And the only thing that I did was, since the last court meeting, was attend the Community Action Program of East Central Oregon, CAPCO. And probably the major item there was we appointed Sharon Asher from Wheeler County to the board to replace Mary Thayer. And they're still getting their finance program put together with the new software. So that's all I have to report on that. I have a question, maybe Steve, you know the answer. Gobi has a huge building in the Dalles. They must be leasing that. Do you know much about it? Did they lease that whole building there?
I don't know anything about it.
Oh, okay. I just seen their sign up on the corner of the building yesterday. And I thought, boy, another bureaucracy for me.
Yeah, it's,
Judge, could I offer up just a bit of information?
sure.
Commissioner, you mentioned Gobi, I happen to know that, talking to the former Grant County Judge, Kevin Campbell, he is the executive director of that organization at this point, and they do have a suite of offices, I believe it's on the 3rd floor at the time being, and they are looking at expanding their bureaucracy, quote unquote. I don't think it is, but it can appear that way at times. But you have to remember, as I'm sure you do, that Gobi is one of the very important coordinated care organizations in the state at this point. And as the judges certainly have a lot of experience on that end of things. There is a real legitimate role for them at this point. And I think it might even lead into something else that this court will be looking at as Sherman County's is, and that's the expansion or the coupling connection that can be made between the Solutions Counseling Group, I believe it's called, and the Center for Living, or the Tri-County Mental Health Board, and the subsequent connections that do need to be made to the North Central Public Health District, and even to the 2 health districts in our county. So you raised a good point, and I think it's something that, again, that you can look at now, but that the new court certainly needs to take under consideration too. Thank you.
Yeah.
So just a little bit to follow up on what Les is kind of talking about, the Eastern Oregon Coordinated Care Organization is really managed by both OBI and MODA Health. And so they're in a partnership and operating EOCCO. And yes, there has been quite a few discussions simply with the Gilliam County's tie with Norcor and the push today for mental health services and increasing and expanding those. Community Counseling Solutions has really reached out to the Tri-County Mental Health Organization, Center for Living, and trying to develop mental health programs, behavioral health programs that operate within Norcor and also within the juvenile facility. One of the things that's being discussed right now is a home in Sherman County for youths. I haven't heard an age yet, but they're talking maybe anywhere between an 8 and 12 bed facility to help with drug and alcohol addiction and all kinds of things that have to do with mental health issues. So they've been in that conversation for a couple of years. I cannot agree more with Les in the tie with the coordinated care organizations, government, the 2 health clinics, public health, mental health, all of these really kind of operating in an umbrella and coordinating with each other to get services out there. So
It isn't happening yet, from what I've seen.
it is not. I think
Very good.
Yeah, it's been a real struggle under the coordinated care organizations. You have insurance companies, you have hospitals, you have rural clinics, you have public health, you have mental health, you have all of these. And really trying to get those integrated with each other has been.
And you got the Oregon Health Authority over the top of all that.
Well, the Oregon Health Authority, of course, is the one that money funnels through from the federal government, and so everybody is really trying to develop something. I really believe that the Eastern Oregon CCOs work very hard at trying to create good, strong local community advisory councils, and those councils, those CACs, LCACs, really trying to drive the entire organization. So, and there's some real strong ones out there, and there's some real weak ones. So, yeah. Okay, enough there. You're good, right, with that?
That's all I have.
For me, actually, after the last time that we met was, of course, the 17th of October. I spent Thursday and Friday at the Oregon Connections Telecommunications Conference. I actually was on a panel there discussing the digital inclusion and really kind of creating better opportunities for those of us out here, and I'm going to call us Frontier. They consistently use the word rural. It was a really good conference. It always has been. This is actually my 4th time there. Skipped a couple of years, but it was really, really good. One that I thought was quite intriguing was put on by, John Huffman was involved with it. They had an individual by the name of Jonathan Chambers there from New York, and it was in regards to rural broadband infrastructure funding and deployment. So that was really good. Lots of discussion about fiber to virtually everything, satellite, direct fixed wireless, direct or LTE, G5. All of it was kind of discussed, and where maybe the investments in the futures may be going. Also, there was a good presentation put on by, it was the Office of the State Chief Information Officer. It kind of had to do a little bit with around AT&T, FirstNet, and State Interoperability Council, and Public Safety Communications, and how it's tying so closely with broadband, and how the future of the two melting together is on the horizon. Let's see, what was the last one that? I guess that's it. That pretty well covers it. There was one more thing that the office, the Oregon Fiber Partnership, the broadband program that's going to be happening, the universities and the state of Oregon are working together to create capacity and fiber rings throughout the state. I think I have a map here. Can give you a quick look at it. Yeah. The ring in Eastern Oregon is fairly large, of course, and there's many small rings that are in around in the area. You guys can keep that. Yeah, I don't need it. Anyway, it was a really interesting place to have been. Also, we had Tri-County Court. So, yeah, that was on the 24th of October. There was quite a discussion around, whomever hosts it, is this a public meeting? What do we need to be doing there? Basically, when it was, the consensus was the group agreed that the host county will be responsible for meeting notices, taking notes and materials, and making sure that all of this would be shared with the other counties and all interested parties. Also, building codes was discussed. I think I'd already mentioned this to you guys the last time. Wasco County has reversed their previous stance of not wanting to be in building codes. It was brought up again as to whether this was something that we wanted to be involved with. The reason why Wasco County switched was that the state intends to move the buildings codes program up to Pendleton. Wasco County still hasn't made a decision as to whether they're going to take it over and then contract with the city. They'll have a meeting, I believe it's on the 19th at Dalles, to hash that out and work out a proposal to bring back to the three counties. The way the three counties kind of left things is they wanted to see what Wasco County would bring back. The other thing that was kind of mentioned there was that the Department of Justice made a ruling that if you were going to have your own building codes program, you had to have a building official that is capable of looking at structures, electrical, plumbing, etc. They needed to have at least enough knowledge to be able to agree to that was fine. So
that was where the real problems.
That's where the problems had come up, because most people had, maybe it was the city recorder that accepted everything and then of course contracted out with somebody who knew what they were doing. That was unacceptable to the state. And that this building code that must be employed by the government agency. What I did, I don't know whether I told you, yes, I did tell you. I met with a couple of private firms and construction people and discussed the building codes and how they do it, and whether there would be an interest in this area. I believe that there is. I think they have quite an interest in maybe serving the Mid-Columbia area. That is a private firm. But we have to get through this one large hurdle real quick. And whether that could be accomplished before the state wants to move, I doubt it. But anyway, we're discussing. I can say that I met with Brett Cook, who is the building codes inspector for the city of Boardman and does all of Morrow counties. And he said his last pound the fist on the table was, do not let it go back to the state, but,
Yeah.
that's easier said than done. And again, we discussed AOC there, similar to what we've already, that we just discussed here. We also discussed the housing shortage in the 3 counties. And that, really what the state has come up with is that one size fits all, so what works in the valley should work out here too. We know that's not the case. Nate Stice with the governor's office said that the governor is working on a Greater Oregon Housing Accelerator program that would have some funds that might help develop housing in Frontier Oregon. So also, Judge MacArthur happened to be there, and he's got an organization called Frontier Advocates. It consists of he Judge Pryor, and Judge Steve Grasty out of Harney County. And they're putting together kind of a business that can help deal with issues and specifically policies at the legislative level to
Lobbyists?
lobbyists. Yeah. Okay. All right, then I think the last thing is Frontier Telnet was discussed. It's really kind of the same ongoing Frontier Telnet and Frontier Regional 911. Frontier Telnet supplies service to the 911 center. It has internet that goes to schools, cellular companies, medical clinics, so on and so forth. That was brought up. They were struggling in getting their E-rate funds. Not really sure where that is right now. It doesn't look real good, the last word that I got, and their abilities to be able to get it. Mike Smith also reported that the Wasco County has expressed interest in this Frontier 911 supplying services for Wasco County, and the proposal is currently being put together for Wasco County and Grant counties. So, Wasco and Grant counties. Okay, that pretty well covers the Tri-County Court meeting. There was good discussions that went on there, kind of a long day. Yeah.
Busy seating.
Yeah.
And I would just add that we did videotape it, and the video is on the website.
Right.
The what?
We did video the meeting, it's on the website with our normal videos.
Oh.
If you guys want to watch it,
Yeah.
or anybody else wants to watch it.
Okay, now I want to go through it quickly. Let's see if we can get this done.
Yeah.
One more?
Something else I think we ought to discuss right now, and that's with new court members coming on and AOC coming up real soon, about having those people go see if they would like to go to the conference to get a good introduction. I think we need to give that kind of blessing, say that we're going to fund those people.
Yeah.
To do that.
So that's already really been taken care of. Rooms have been gotten for, there's four rooms. There are 4 registrations that are taken care of. So, yeah. I'm not gonna go. Are you going?
I'm not going to.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go.
No, but I just thought,
I'm
I want to make sure.
And
that-
I actually, Commissioner, I did speak with both today, and we made arrangements.
Yeah.
We're all set.
So, it's all set, ready to go.
But it is something that we need as a court need to okay, because they are not
I see what you're saying.
I
Part of
hear
the
what you're
county,
saying
but
now.
yeah.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason that I'm bringing it up officially.
Okay.
Court
Okay.
meeting here.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the big things that we, as a county court though, had said that any new county commissioners, judge, whatever, it was, they needed to participate in county college. And one of the portions of county college is the new commissioner's orientation that goes on. It's a little, well, yeah, I think it's got a tie with it. kind of gives them the introduction
Oh, yeah.
of all that, to what to expect in the coming year.
I found it really was a good way, good first step.
I thought it was,
started.
I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then County College was phenomenal, so.
So anyway, I move we pay the registration and expenses to attend
I agree.
the Association of Oregon Counties Annual Conference for the 2 new board members.
Yeah, okay. I'll second. So it's been moved and seconded to approve the funding for the 2 new county court members to attend the AOC, Association of Oregon Counties Conference. Okay. Any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Who seconded that?
I did. Yeah. Oh, I did have one more thing, sorry. I was notified, I guess it was Tuesday, or, no, it was the week before, and then I got sick. Yeah, that the hot water system at the batch plant, the boiler apparently didn't get winterized, and the moment they hit it with water, Dubber went to get it up and operating and ready for his project. And of course, water was going all over the place. So Dubber actually had one that, the same thing had happened to his, but he was as good as done at getting it completely repaired. So it's a portable unit similar to the one that we have. He's decided that, it would be better, he'll just go ahead and bring his up rather than utilize hot water heater at the batch plant. So something to consider in the future. Dubber, I can't remember his last name right now.
Zorza.
Zorza.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Zorza. So anyway, he said that he would look into some of what it would take for us to be able to get it fixed. Or comment was is that with that one as bad as it was, it might be better off just getting a new used one, I guess. So, anyway, forgot that.
You seem to have a lot of lines on parts and how to fix those things.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, he's experienced at it, so he's going to use his for this particular project. Okay, discussion on county grant programs, goals, and eligibility criteria. Now, here's an example of some of the stuff that we had concerns with, and I really feel that we need to kind of address them. I received a phone call from an individual who was putting together care packages on behalf of the Methodist Church in Arlington, and they were wondering about a donation from the county court for their projects. So it's a little bit similar to the thing that we had on a smaller scale that we had with the Young Life Group, and also kind of on a larger scale that we have with some of the SIP funds. And I guess I'm still kind of looking for something that I know we keep talking about the strategic plan, but there's other aspects of this that I just kind of feel that we had problems with. We discussed those, and we should approach that or not. So.
This is more of a food type program we're talking?
No, it would be, some of it would be food, some of it would be clothing, some of it would be, like stocking caps, sweaters, different odds and ends that would go into care packages that were sent to kids across the United States.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Not local.
Right.
I mean, that's not our
So,
county
yeah.
that we're taking care of.
Correct.
Seems a little bit out of bounds.
It is, but also it still becomes kind of, it brings up the same issue that we had with the special projects. Again, for me, the SIP funds that we receive are just a different way of paying taxes. You know, I don't want to get into breaking down the criteria that each one of them needs to have to be able to fill it in. I just feel that it's important that the county court recognizes the fact that there are taxing districts out there that when we decided to sign the SIP, they were the ones who suffered the loss. Now, one of the things that we were able to do with that is there were only taxing districts that were within the zone of the wind projects. We were able to spread it out to all the others. And if there's one thing that I would like to be able to get accomplished before I do leave office, it would be that, you know, some sort of something was done that assured the fact that we were going to get that accomplished, continue doing that one aspect of things. Now, we've given out to 501c3s also, the daycares. You know, that's, you know, pretty important in my opinion. I don't think that you can have a good community without having good daycare there. So I'm feeling pretty strong about some of these things. Just to, not that I can't be nudged one way or the other, but I just feel that we need to get, we've struggled with this for 4 years, and well, not quite 4 years. We only had money for really the last 3, but first 3 we paid debt.
We were still given to a lot of these entities before that
Correct.
time.
Correct.
Yeah.
Just not at the same levels. And I don't want, again, this can be up to the new court as to what kind of criteria they want to have with those entities. I just think it needs to be brought out and on the table that the county court in 2011 signed a SIP agreement that give them control of virtually all the tax funds. And
Yeah, well, I mean, back when that was done, that there were public hearings for it too. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just that we went and did it.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
there were SIP public hearings that, you know, this is what a SIP does.
Right,
You know,
right. I don't think at that time there was enough pushback from
Yeah.
these taxing districts that were.
I don't think anybody realized, you know, the amount of dollars that were going to be coming in. You know, even though they were told, and it was there, and I've looked at every one of the PowerPoints, read all the minutes, and read virtually all the information on every one of them, and I still don't think that that resonated with everybody.
They weren't necessarily worse off than what they were before.
No.
I think that's where they came.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's, virtually, if you start with nothing and, you know, you end with nothing, you know, but if,
And it's sort of, I mean, I think it was, the SIP program overall was an incentive to get these companies to develop here.
right,
Yeah. They went into Washington instead, you know, that, I mean, that did happen too.
sure,
Yeah. So, I mean,
yeah,
you're playing a little game there of are we actually losing?
But again, this goes back to when I was involved with the most recent SIP that we signed.
Right.
I think the big thing that give an advantage to the developer was that, you know, initially their tax liability was clear up here.
Oh, yeah.
And the depreciation brought it down here.
Right.
Over that 15-year period of time. The advantage of the SIP give it to them to level it out.
Right.
So if there was a straight line right across the top, their tax liability that they paid, they were just like inches below what they would have paid anyhow over that period of time. Just would have been a huge amount, small amount. And this allowed them to level it out. And that I think is what really enticed the wind companies to set up in this area. And then the one that there is a slight, this was the work that, we had Bryan do, and I was really, closely involved with that in saying, okay, over this period of time, we're going to pay this huge pot of tax liability to us. And that's based on the cost of the turbine, the tower, construction, the revenue off of the electric, the power sale, all of that. And so in determining what that whole pie was going to be, then we tried to level it out and give them a small break so that they would choose to set up here and make it more convenient for them. But also in doing that, I mean, we had to weigh what the cost of all of this was, what the power was going to be, and we went from $9,000 per megawatt cost down to $6,000 per megawatt.
As far as the companies go, they preferred, without the SIP, they prefer this rapid declining balance.
Yeah.
I mean, so and from our taxing district standpoint, we operate a lot better on a more even keel.
I thought so too.
And so that's where you get your SIP as kind of the compromise in between. Besides the opportunity to spread this out over the, a bigger impact area, because this end of the county is impacted too. Yeah, right. So anyway, I think
that was part of it too.
Yeah, yeah. But deciding what entities get the money
is where it gets a little bit tricky. The
That's
only
the
thing
tricky part.
Yeah, again, for me, it's I feel passionate about making sure that the clinics get. I think it's important that they're able to be whole. I also feel the port, which is a taxing district. I feel that they should be whole. I kind of feel that the school districts. You were talking about that quick dive.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first came into office, of course, the Horizon Wind, I think it was, or Wheat Feed, which I can't remember. I think it was a Horizon Wind project.
Yeah.
Which is the one out on Charlie Anderson's and that chose not to do the SIP.
Right. Right.
The school district was receiving a huge amount of funds, and it was like, get us off of, we don't need to be on state funding.
Right.
And then within a couple of years, I mean, they were back on the state funding again.
Right.
They went a large amount of money, a smaller amount of money, and then suddenly it's state funding or doing it on our own. And of course, since then we've tried to really develop some funds for the school districts for a couple of their things. I feel it's important that we set something that says that those two entities need to be. Our taxing districts would be the first thing that is looked at and making sure that they get.
Well, if that's the case, then basically the money's just going to go back to those districts that the windmills are in. If you're going to try to use that definition of making them whole.
Yeah. No, I'm not. That's going to happen, Mike. That is going to happen. What I'm saying is the entire county taxing districts. Yeah, the entire county's taxing district. If you went and asked the North Yellow County Health District whether they would want any of the SIP funds that we have, I can almost guarantee you that they would say, no, not at this time, until they come up with a plan on something they want to, do. Whereas I think just being able to keep the doors open for the South Gilliam County Health District, those funds are really important. Now, same thing with the schools. Arlington schools, well, both of them, they're in need. But when these SIPs end, there's going to be still a huge value on these wind projects, and it's going to go strictly to what's in those in Zone 4. All the taxing revenue. The county won't be receiving the discretionary funds. A big portion of those discretionary funds are going to be going to Zone 4. Am I right? I think it's Zone 4, whatever it is.
I think it's so.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's,
So
it still doesn't, I mean, yeah. This in the school district and the health district, I mean, the port's over the whole county.
Mhm.
But those items, I mean, those districts are, we don't, making them whole is, it's not something that we should be doing.
Okay.
And that's where I feel about it, I mean, in terms of, that's the way the ball has been cut.
Okay. All right. Okay. What do you think, Leslie?
I'm not sure, but I do, I think this might be a conversation that has to continue on.
Into the new
After-
court.
Yeah,
it
after the
does.
first year.
Yeah. I think it's,
But
much
I
more.
am hearing both.
Yeah.
Both sides.
Yeah, I'm,
Both angles.
it's a whole lot more complicated than I think people, think. It's one of those that, it's like there's a whole lot of money that the county has, and just, here you go, kind of you're standing inside, everybody reach for the funds, and I don't think it's been that way at all. I think I've taken a hard look at, what if there was just one health district all the way through, and this landed the way they did, what would have, the health district here have got? It's pretty doggone close to the money that we're getting. The school districts are really, in a different position. But ones that have really lost out, I would say this, South Gilliam County Rural Fire District, Protection District, really hasn't, other than they got a brand new building.
Yeah.
The cemetery district here on the south end, because I think they asked for irrigation pipe one time to put in some sprinkling systems. The health district has been here each and every time. Which one am I missing, Mike? I think that's it. It's just those three: cemetery, health, and then there's the court, and then the county. So 5. No, I just, food for thought. We just need to kind of, I guess, keep this conversation going. Wasn't something that we sat down, did kind of a work session. When I first came into office, we made the decision that half the funds were going to be set aside. The other half of the funds, Commissioner Bryan felt passionate about the fact of having flexibility to be able to do what we do now. And I couldn't say that I disagreed with any of that. Today, there seems to be an awful lot of pressure in regards to develop a criteria, develop some sidebars on some of this. I feel, for some of that, but also, again, I feel like it's hard for me to tell the South Gilliam County Health District or the school district that, these funds that may have come to them anyhow at the wind project, then everything was countywide, that. That suddenly you're gonna have to spend the money the way that this body decides is okay. I'm not sure that that's something that I completely agree with. The daycares, again, that's another one, the 501c3s that we get to. I have a difficult time saying, geez, we're going to give you the money, but we want to make sure that you spend it on paying for teachers or whatever. I feel they need the flexibility, when they receive the funds, they need the flexibility to be able to do what they feel is in the best interest of operating their operations. Since, it's easy to set back and say, geez, you have this criteria, you have all of that, but also it's a little bit more difficult when you begin thinking about what would have been had, and I'd love nothing more than to have a countywide school district or have a countywide health district, have a countywide fire district. I think Sherman County works over there. Worked very well over there. I think it's created something.
They have the fire district split up, I guess.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
They have their issues there too.
They do. And I think, they have their issues in the fire district like we do in everything.
Yeah. So, you can tell who has the new equipment.
Yeah. So, I know we're not getting any place with this, and I'm okay with that. I really am. It's just that there's an awful lot of, this is the way it ought to be spent, and this is what ought to be done with it. And I want to make sure that everybody understands where it was that I felt, and I have to say this, I think it was the stance that Commissioner Gronquist took. Not that I can't say I agreed with, with everything. I wanted to see a few more sidebars than sideboards than what Dennis wanted to see, but.
You wanted the opposite.
He did, and in my opinion, it has worked. It has worked. It's sometimes when you're on the outside looking in, it doesn't look like it's working out at all. But I kind of feel this body has done a pretty good job in trying to make sure that everybody got a piece of the pie. And we got a new one coming in. I mean, once this new one, once they commence operation, there's going to be $1 million coming this direction. And then, substantial, there'll be $1 million and probably another $1 million initial payment, and then probably about 1.1 million additional dollars each and every year, and then local improvement fee. Remember, I couldn't think of what that was. You said the third category, it's called the local improvement fee. That will be $200,000 a year also, so for 5 years. So you'll be looking at $1.3 million additional funds, again, for 15 years from the date that they start operation. First 5 years, it's 1.3 million, and then after 5 years, it turns into 1.1. Okay.
I know, I can't speak for Dennis, but I can always try.
Yeah.
But, he thought we as the court got elected to make these decisions. And I felt like I preferred getting input from the public, the people, on the direction. And so that part, if they've had the opportunity, then I feel comfortable in the decisions I make, based on what information I gathered. And that does give us flexibility, because we know over time how much change we're going through.
Yeah. I'd like to, when Commissioner Weatherall come on board, there's a huge amount of unappropriated funds, which it's kind of, and I completely understand too, that, that is like, wow, why would you want to do that? But, what we had kind of decided was that we needed to create this, lack of a better way of doing it, a rainy day fund that really had more flexibility than just being tied to one specific thing. And I couldn't figure out a way to create a reserve. Most reserves that you have, budget law requires that it's reserved for a purpose. And I, spent time with the auditors, I spent time with budget people, and I could never come up with something that we could create this fund that's set there with all kinds of flexibility. Each and every year having that flexibility of budget time, which I felt created a transparency, during the budget process that said, okay, here's where we wanted to focus the funds for that particular year. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, this email is coming in. Is this something we might want to try and take care of real quick?
Ooh, okay. Yeah, okay. I'm going to go real quick here. I just received an email from, and I think Ruben's been working on this. There's a sublease that's going to be happening with Thompson Brothers to Hood River Sand and Gravel. And we've had kind of, Thompson Brothers, it's really, we have a lease with them. And they're creating a whole new lease that would, for Hood River Sand and Gravel. I have actually had Ruben take a look at it. Ruben gives some input. Now, Ruben is not an attorney that's involved with this in any way, shape, or form, because it's really Thompson Brothers' attorney and Hood River Sand and Gravel. I don't think they've had any legal work, so.
No, they obviously didn't have legal counsel in drafting the agreement.
Yeah.
What I did though is I contacted them and said, look, I'm not acting as either of your attorneys, but for the court to approve this agreement, I need this language in it, and supply them with the language that we need to cover us to make sure that our master lease that we have with Thompson Brothers is recognized in that sublease and will be honored by both parties pledged to honor it in that sublease. They did that, they added the language, it's good to go.
Yeah, we didn't have the time to be able to get it out to us, but here, this says, it's from Scott Randall, the Thompson Brothers, are we good to go on the sublease agreement at this point? He said that Hood River Sand and Gravel is wanting to start batching next Monday. So, I guess, well, can we approve this?
No.
Okay. Okay, at the next campaign?
No, they don't. That's just not, yeah.
Okay.
They needed to understand that,
Well, they did, I think they got it to us, was it Monday? Might even have been Friday of last week. I was sick, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And so I really
It's been back and forth a couple times on mine.
I didn't really get to look at it until Monday.
yeah,
And,
right, that's just, yeah.
well,
The court did not get it in time, that's period.
Okay, so what do I tell them about starting on Monday?
Well, doesn't look possible to me.
Well,
And I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to change your opinion, I'm just saying that the court does have an avenue here, and that the court could choose to, for 30 days, waive the provision in the lease with Thompson Brothers that says that they have to have approval to sublease. So basically let him go forth with the sublease, subject to our approval at the next court meeting. If we wanted to proceed today, I realize that you're probably no vote on that, but I'm just saying that we could waive that provision of the lease for now, and then put it on the agenda for December 5th for actual approval of that sublease and signing of the evidence of that. So I'm saying that I respect what you're saying.
Yeah.
But if the court does want to take action today, that there is a workaround.
Judge Schaefer?
Yeah.
Can I throw out just to the legal counsel a question here?
Yeah, please.
Les York for the record, and I just wanted to suggest something to the legal counsel, see if it might work in terms of procedure here. Could not, with all due respect to what you're saying, Commissioner Weimer, could not the court also do the gathering that's necessary of the paperwork involved and create a staff report and then call a special meeting that they could issue notice of for, say, like Friday by telephone, handle it that way, and then be done with it, and still meet what I think you're thinking of, which I am too, the proper procedure for making sure that you try to achieve as best you can. Is that something that could be done?
That could be done.
I don't know what everybody's time commitment is or how important it is. Maybe it's not all that important, but I'm just sitting and listening to this. That would be my suggestion.
Well, and Les brings up a good point in that we do want to have the paperwork available to the public.
Well, not so much that as I'm interrupting you, but what I'm thinking, Ruben, is the record building for your own protection that you need to have is what I'm thinking most of. But yeah, the opportunity, if one wanted to ask to look at it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would just throw out here that a month-long delay on this probably isn't going to work for Hood River Sand and Gravel. I mean, that blows their entire project.
You're saying that they're going to be done pouring concrete by the end of 30 days?
Well, they're
but,
on a time.
But they have basically a 4-month project. If we push them back an entire month, that's probably, I'm assuming, probably going to be very hard for them to do their project.
Well, I don't like special meetings either. That's just, they are hard, it's just another meeting.
Yeah, I was just going back through and
Seems like somewhere somebody's not understanding the way our government works here. We meet first and third, and if they want to get business done, then they should have it before us.
well, I think, we've had discussions with that this was their intention for some time, that Thompson Brothers was going to sublease. Had we had discussions about that?
Have we? A little bit?
A little bit.
Well, we didn't know what the, to me, Mike, I think a special meeting would be an alternative. I think we could waive the portion of the sublease agreement that's in the contract and get these guys up and going.
For 30 days.
For 30 days and pick it up on December 5th. Or we could have a special meeting on Friday. The fact of the matter is if we get the reputation, and we sort of have it already, to come in here, and many counties meet on a weekly basis. They actually have business meetings on a Monday and meet on Wednesday. It's not unusual
For some counties.
For some counties.
Yeah.
Our neighboring county and the one beyond,
Bigger
to the
counties.
east.
Bigger counties.
Two to the east.
But the tri-county doesn't, right?
Well, you know, they got to be bigger counties because of those kind of moves, and I just don't want to get the reputation here at Gilliam County that it's going to be difficult to deal with the government simply because we only meet twice a month.
In other words, you're suggesting we change to a weekly meeting for?
Well, no, I didn't say that. I just said that, you know, this is an unusual circumstance. I just got the email. Things showed up on November 5th. I think the first contact may have been last Wednesday, October 31st, that they really thought they had something that was going to go into place. Yeah, I think it was October 31st. I'm going back on the entire email chain.
I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
and I agree with you, but I think there might be a way that we can
Do the 30-day.
keep them going.
Do the 30-day waiver. And
Yeah, I love being able to get everything out to us a week in advance, and you know,
We
give
can-
everybody the opportunity to the public,
can't
everybody
even
to be
do
able to
it in
see
the-
everything.
We can't even get the county staff to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's good.
Okay, so
Somebody else's problem too.
Yeah, so if we had a motion that we waive the sublease agreement portion,
Yes, okay, so
lead me through this.
what we want to do is we
I don't have
want to do trying to think back to the actual lease. So we want to make a motion to allow, motion to waive county's acceptance of sublease for 30 days, based upon receipt of a signed copy of the sublease between
The two entities.
And then we'll take up our acceptance at the next meeting.
December 5th.
Yeah.
December 5th.
I so move.
Second.
Okay. Do I need to repeat what he says?
No.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll let you give it one more shot.
Okay, well. I should have written it up. Motion to waive the acceptance clause of the lease for 30 days based upon receipt of a signed copy of the Thompson Brothers to
Hood River Sand Gravel
lease.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion, done. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And, I mean, this email came in at 15 minutes ago.
Came in when I showed it to you.
Yeah.
I knew I should have asked for adjournment sooner.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay.
Well, and just one more thing, is that this should satisfy Les as well, and that before anything is formally accepted and signed off on by the county, the original lease, the sublease, and our acceptance of it will be in a packet and available for the public.
Okay. Good. All right.
Okay.
We're done.
Okay.
Let's adjourn. Okay.